I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Tito Santana.
This is Kurt Angle.
This is Bret the Hitman Hart, and this is going out to Scott and Holly.
You are listening to the
Win Twice Wrestling Podcast
with Scott and Holly.
Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
And this holds for everybody. Ho!
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to listen to the incomparable Win Twice Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Holly. We always go over, brother, and that's the bottom line. Dig it? So sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 61 of the Win Twice Wrestling Podcast alongside your co-hosts Scott and Holly. Is it?
It's morning.
Is it morning?
Yeah.
Yeah, struggling a bit?
A little bit.
I don't know how Holly does it, everyone, but she seems to be able to function to a competent level, I'd say. I wouldn't say you excel on minimal sleep, because no one does, but you are far and above anyone else I know when sleep deprived.
Thank you.
Because honestly, if I miss like 2 to 3 hours, let alone 6, I am a miserable prick. Like, I just can't. So, you know, they talk about man flu and that kind of stuff. And I don't think I'm too bad. I'm not great with it, but I'm not also that bad. But with lack of sleep, that is my man flu.
Okay.
I've become a pissy little ingrate. And to be fair, I think it's because so my wife sleeps like a log routinely. Since I've been with her, so that's 11 years or something, she has slept badly 3 times. And one of them was because she was ill.
Right.
Or 2 of them was because she was ill and she was up all night. And I woke up and I was like, oh, I feel bad for her. And then part of me was like, now you know. Now you know. But I'm not wishing that upon her, of course. But the fact that you're able to still be here, I was going to say bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. Bushy-tailed, sure.
Bushy-tailed.
Bright-eyed, maybe a little bit of a stretch. But we are here. We are back recording. And it is going to be, I don't want to say it's a mini-series because it's not. But we do have plans to continue going down this line over the course of the shows. And that is we're taking a trip back to the land of NXT. Paul Levesque's baby boy, when he was the COO, when he still had a shaved head but not completely shaved, which is weird now that I look at it. It's that awkward phase, isn't it? Like the long hair, my brain goes, yes, I'm familiar with this.
Yeah.
The completely shaved head,
Good.
my brain goes, yes,
Yeah.
I'm familiar with this. Then I see the little microphone fuzz, the iron filings, as I like to call
I
it.
get what you're saying, actually, yeah.
And it's neither...
Doesn't fit right.
Yeah, it's not in the left camp, it's not in the right camp. It's just, it looks odd. And his face makes an appearance. He doesn't make an appearance himself at the show, but his image is used throughout. With NXT, we covered off their first special event in a previous episode in Arrival, which I'm calling the first takeover, because let's be fair, that is what it became as it went on. But this is obviously the one that was called Takeover.
Yes.
And if you have an overview of the card, there's a couple of talents in there you go, do you know what? You can kind of earmark them and go, they're going to do well. And then there's the other end of the spectrum.
Okay.
And we'll get into match number 1 when we get there. Like,
Okay, good.
Not calling people out, but I just thought, in my head, because NXT holds such a... to be fair, it was the black and gold era.
Yeah.
To me, and it was some of my favourite wrestling that I've ever watched.
Okay.
Enjoyed the stories, enjoyed the wrestling. The crowd were always fantastic for it. It was such a good time to be watching the product that I forget that beforehand there was a little bit of, I'm going to say, teething problems. Because the roster wasn't established. People wanted it to be what it did go on to become in the black and gold era, but it wasn't quite there yet. And obviously they're still doing things in Full Sail University, so they've got a limited live audience that they can showcase in front of. Having said that, the crowd are good. I thought they were good at Arrival. I think they've been pretty good at Takeover. I didn't think, the crowd could have given this one a little bit more. We've watched an NXT. You've watched many an NXT, actually, but you will have. They've all blurred into one beautiful Holly haze of a mess, I imagine, over the years. We talk about your expectations, always trying to be minimal, but we have just seen the show that came before it, so that would have been, about 3 months or so beforehand, maybe a bit less?
Yeah.
What, in your head, I don't know what you knew about this show.
Not a lot.
So I'm trying to think through the card.
I knew one match that wasn't it.
Is that because of the freeze frame on Netflix?
Yeah, but I have seen that as well.
Oh, have you?
Yes.
Do you know what? I do not recall seeing that.
I have seen it. God knows how, but I have seen it.
Okay, fair enough. So what were your expectations, relatively speaking?
I would say bang down the middle.
Okay.
Not too high,
Mm-hmm.
not too low,
Mm-hmm.
bang down the middle. Which even in life, when I have a bang down the middle expectation, will usually prove me wrong.
Cannot confirm nor deny that, but I certainly understand where you're coming from.
But no, I thought, because the last one was good,
Yes.
I thought, oh, okay. And then my brain goes, no, let's lower that expectation.
Because it can only get you hurt, I guess.
Always.
Exactly.
Always.
Reveal a bit of the soft underbelly from the hard shell, and
Always.
there's always going to be something sharp and pointy going in there. I think NXT as well, they were benefited, even though I might have mentioned about the teething problems going forward. Triple H did so well for them in terms of being given the reins to basically do as he saw fit. You saw when NXT became that tie-dyed, colour-paletted 2.0 that I was genuinely so sad because Vince wanted more input into it, and then we saw what happened, and then just everything seemed to plummet for a period in NXT. But they also had some key players that were constant themes, and so in the early days, and we'll touch upon him in greater detail because he does feature on the show, Sami Zayn was an absolute MVP for NXT around this time. You would also go to the likes of your Kevin Owens, your Finn Balor's, Nakamura's even. The list goes on and on then, Adam Cole, etc., etc. There's always been those 2 or 3 people at any one time that you can go, that's going to be a good match.
Yeah.
And you can just, it doesn't matter who they're going up against, you know there's going to be something of value to take away from that. So I couldn't remember Sami Zayn being on this card, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't know if I've seen this show in its entirety prior to this recording, but I have seen bits and pieces because I know I've seen some of the main event in the past as well, which I've got many a thought on.
Okay.
And it's also given like a second lease of life to some people that are on the main roster that then make their way back down, and we see it in the main event.
Yes.
For example, we've got Tyson Kidd there.
Yes.
Never would you have thought that he would be in that kind of position. Later on, Dolph Ziggler does the same thing. But we've had even more recent stuff, like Bayley, who hasn't long been removed from being the women's champion.
Yeah.
And she's gone back to NXT and competed for their title very recently. And it's not like an isolated incident, which is good. I like the fact that you've got a bit of unpredictability about it. And then there are the people that you just look at and, I don't know, maybe it's a little bit of benefit of hindsight, but I look at them and go, no, there's nothing there for me personally. And you see it on a couple of, well, it's the opening match. Both people in the opening match, I'll be honest, tick that box for me. But again, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. Let's do things in the correct order. So, yeah, WWE NXT Takeover took place on the 29th of May 2014, which is, my God, nearly 11 years ago. Oh, wow. The venue, Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida, and the attendance was just over 400, which is capacity for that venue. Okay. So, good, fine. We'll go into the show opening. Let's dive right in. We've laid the table to a certain extent. So, as is customary for any WWE show in recent memory, we get the then, now, forever VT. Although this was prior to them adding together in again, which I was expecting, went, no, they've missed it. But I don't remember exactly when that came in. Probably when Vince left, maybe. This transitions into archive footage of all-star wrestling, but quickly transitions to snippets of the WWF in the 80s, the Attitude Era, and then modern-day wrestling, and make sure to emphasise that everything changes. And now I've got a song in my head. Everything Changes But You. Was that Take That? It was Take That. There you go. Change is necessary, and we see clips of the likes of San Martino, Backlund, Hogan, Austin and Michaels, to name but a few. And like I said, they're really driving this point home of it's the evolution of wrestling. Well, I was about to say no Triple H, but Triple H is very much here. So, yes, evolution in many respects. As the VT continues, highlights are shown on The Shield, Paige, Rusev, the Wyatt family, Big E, and Cesaro, although it's put here Cesarom, demonstrating the path from NXT to the main event roster can be a fruitful one. Makes sense, and there's quite a lot of examples already, which is good.
Absolutely.
The package picks up in pace as the current crop of NXT stars are showcased with fast-flying and hard-hitting action before phasing out to the NXT logo after Neville is depicted holding the championship belt. Got a question for you right off the bat. What do you think of Neville as being NXT champion?
Doesn't work for me.
Doesn't work for you. Okay, why? Is that okay? Sorry, no, carry on.
To me, it sounds so silly, and I don't know how to explain it properly. But to me, he is like a. What was the thing they used to do on the main? Was it 405? Whatever.
Oh,
it is.
205 Live.
205 Live, whatever it was. To me, he's one of those champions.
Yeah.
But he's not a big champion to me. He's like a small, like intercontinental or like a different title.
Okay.
To me, he's not a main title holder.
Okay.
Mainly because when he opens his mouth, I stop listening. And I feel like I only ever want to see him in one type of match.
Ladder.
Absolutely.
Okay, so obviously in Arrival,
That's my humble opinion.
No, that's fine. I mean, you're more than entitled to it. He went up against Bo Dallas for the NXT title.
That I enjoyed.
Does Bo Dallas strike you as an NXT champion?
To me, he does, because he's got the charisma for it. His character there in that one was so much better for me than his opponent.
Strongly disagree.
Yeah, fair.
Strongly disagree. Bo Dallas doesn't seem like an NXT champion to me either. Not to say he's bad, but I just don't consider him to be at that level. And I think that will touch upon largely what I think about going into the main event.
Okay.
I'm okay with Neville being NXT champion. However, I much prefer the bastard version of him that we get later on,
Okay.
where he's heel, and because he did have the cruiserweight title, he held on to it for a long damn time,
Yeah.
and then he decided to leave the company when he was made to lose it to Enzo, because he's like, well, I'm working my arse off here, putting in these good matches. This guy can't lace my boots effectively, and we're going to that, and then I'm being made into a joke. I don't want to be here anymore. So I could see him. I think he would have benefited if he was, let's say, competing maybe about 3 or 4 years after the fact. So when you've got the likes of Balor there, even Nakamura, these type of people, he could have had really good. And I think that would have changed the perception. Because if you look at him, okay, let me ask you this: Adam Cole, NXT champion? You think? Pac's bigger than him.
Yeah, but it's something. It's not just the way they look, though, is it? It's something. It's the way they carry themselves as well for me.
Which is why I think he would have benefited from being the bastard Pac. Because I think he knows what he's doing in that gimmick, and he carries himself well. And obviously, at some point, we'll encounter that in one of these shows where he's playing that role, where he's got the kind of ratty beard, a bit like what he's doing in AEW, to be perfectly honest. But that started in the cruiserweight division in WWE. I was just interested because we never really discussed whether it looked right as him being the champion.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately I'm not fussed, but for me, preferably not.
No, that is fair enough. So from there we go live to the arena where we're welcomed to the show by Tom Phillips, but we quickly focus on the big screen before heading outside, where Adam Rose is dancing his way past the fans on his way into the building with a cast of characters in tow.
This upset me greatly.
Holly, did you recognise any of these characters?
Yes, one of them made me so sad.
I'm pretty sure I saw Summer Rae, but I know for a fact I saw Simon Gotch, Becky Lynch, and Braun Strowman in the group.
That's one upset me massively. It's so bad. This is... You look at Strowman here, right? And it's not this point. There is a point when Strowman, later on, a lot later down the line, main roster, has a glow up and becomes delightful to look at for me. I look at him here and I am reminded of what he looked like before, but also, ick.
And that is why you never judge a book by its cover.
Ick.
But he's kind of dressed as like Baby New Year.
It's like a gladiator's outfit that you'd buy from a local like dress up shop.
But in my head, he's wearing like a nappy and a sash.
Okay.
So, or a diaper for our American listeners. It just looks weird, and he's doing the hacksaw.
Yeah, I don't
He's
know.
fully doing the hacksaw fist pumping, and also
bizarre.
somehow he doesn't look that big.
Is it? Yes.
It's weird, isn't it?
I was trying to look at the other guys that he's around.
Some of them are big, but
I was trying to work out like, do we know who that is?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think we do. But also, Strowman looks ginormous usually. Why does he not look so massive now?
You looked also confused when I said Simon Gotch. I assumed that name isn't overly familiar.
I do know who that is.
Do you remember the Vaudevillains?
Yes.
Him and Aidan English.
Yes.
He was the one with the tash, and he had like a fez on, I think, and like a robber kind of looking outfit. So he was in that group as well before he kind of broke out as a tag team competitor.
I'll tell you what upset me the most about this stupid little party thing, experience, whatever they call it. Why is there a megaphone?
Jimmy Hart's there in spirit.
Honestly.
I
Can't get away from him.
You really can't. Although I will say, spoiler alert, he doesn't actually appear on the show, although a megaphone does.
Yes.
I'm genuinely surprised, and I mean no insult to this whatsoever, that you spotted Becky Lynch.
Oh yeah, I saw her jigging around.
I thought that would completely bypass you. I thought you'd spot Strowman, although again I wasn't 100%,
Yep.
but I thought you would.
Yep.
Simon Gotch I didn't think you would, and Summer Rae I thought might have missed you by, but
Yeah, no, I just saw those two, and I was like, oh, but I thought, I bet there's other people, but I was also like, I'm not watching this again to find out.
that's fair enough. I mean, they come back later on, so don't worry, you don't miss out. But Holly, do you know who Adam Rose's character was based off?
No.
Loosely speaking, Adam Rose was the WWE's take on the character Aldous Snow in the film Get Him to the Greek, played by Russell Brand, a bizarre rock star-like character who lives in a perpetually stress-free world with no repercussions. Sadly, for Mr. Brand, those repercussions look to have caught up to him just a little bit.
Yes.
Do you now see the similarities in the character?
A little bit, actually.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
Because Adam Rose is even putting on an accent to do the fake British.
Oh, I don't
Do you know where he's actually from?
No.
South Africa.
Is it?
And the character he did before Adam Rose, I actually quite liked.
Yeah.
Leo Kruger. He was the big game hunter. So he's a bit of a kind of twisted... So he was doing South African, and he was kind of... He would wear like combat type gear. Like, so he'd have camo trousers on, a vest, and he'd be talking about big game hunting, and he'd want to pick on the biggest people in NXT to take them out. You're now going to look that up,
Yeah,
aren't you?
I'm interested.
Have a look. Yeah, Leo Kruger.
I'm just interested.
I mean,
because-
it's fairly similar, but he looks better by a
Right,
mile.
let's have a little...
So Holly's just searching on her phone to see what Leo Kruger looks like.
Oh, that's so much better.
Show me, just so I can see what you've got on the phone to make sure
It's
that
like,
that... Yes.
looks a little bit Reigns-esque within the face.
Yeah, okay, I can see it, yeah. But that's what he used to look
God,
like.
that's much better.
Yeah, I think I can't remember if he was actually FCW champion, so Florida Championship Wrestling,
Yeah.
before it went to NXT. But he was at that level. In fact, I'm pretty sure he was.
Okay.
So they had big hopes for him at some point. Since he's left the WWE,
Oh, really?
so he's cut his hair
Jacked.
short. Yeah, you'd be a fan. He's cut his hair short, and he's glistening.
Lovely.
Yeah, no, he's a good looking lad. Upon reaching the ring, Rose stands on the apron before falling back onto the Rosebuds, who catch him, march him around, and place him back on the apron. You will have noticed Brandy Rhodes, although she's not Rhodes at this point,
No.
on ring announce duty for this evening, and we head into the opening match of the night. Well, no surprises here. Adam Rose is one of the people in this match,
Of course.
and he is going up against Camacho.
Yes.
Now, Holly, I hear you think, Camacho?
Makes me think of cold soup.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, shit. That's all I'm going to think now.
Gazpacho.
Yeah. So they talk about, here comes Camacho, and Holly goes, hold that shit. That's Tangaloa.
Shut up. Oh my god. Oh my god, it is. How do I not see these things?
That
Oh.
hasn't surprised me, actually, but I'm glad I got that reaction.
Oh.
Yep. Yes, Holly, you are correct. That is Tangaloa when he was originally in the company and went under the name Camacho. Camacho looks to be all business tonight, which stands in stark contrast to Adam Rose, who still has his lollipop in his mouth before pointing it toward the crowd as they chant, "Party pooper." I'm fine with that for some reason. I don't know why, but I am. So Camacho, you wouldn't have been watching actively, I don't think, at this time. So, do you remember Sin Cara?
Yes.
Sin Cara, great talent, but a bit of a head case.
Okay.
And he got injured, I think, for quite a while, or suspended as well. I know that for a fact. And they basically brought in the other person to play Sin Cara. So when then Sin Cara came back, there were two Sin Caras, and they had the blue mask Sin Cara, the original, and the black mask Sin Cara, who was the person who was replacing them in the time he was away. And then it was a mask versus mask. The original Sin Cara wins. The black Sin Cara, has to take his mask off. He turns out to be a wrestler who goes on to become Hunico, who is a little Mexican gangster type,
Right.
not from the favela because it's not Brazil and stuff, and he then got associate Camacho. So yes, that's right. The Samoan or Tonga-based athlete is pretending to be Mexican here.
Okay.
To be fair, you kind of see. I'm not saying that's right, but it's not like a complete stretch. It's not like William Regal fucking coming down and playing a Mexican gangster. And yeah, they used to come out on one of those, I don't know how to describe it, like a lowrider bike. You know, the bicycle, the one with the big handlebars up here. And Camacho would be walking it with Hunico standing on the, not the spokes, but, you know, the bars that come out of the spoke. And then just talking to the fans. And that's how Camacho got his start in WWE. Tangaloa, Bloodline. So we've got a Bloodline representative in this show.
Of course.
Oh dear. The bell sounds. Okay, actually no. The bell doesn't sound. Holly.
Yeah.
You know of Adam Rose, I assume?
Yeah.
Camacho would have been new to you, obviously.
Yes.
Your brain, what was your brain trying to unpack here? What were you thinking the match would look like? Not necessarily quality-wise. Did you think it was going to be slow, boring, high-paced? What were you expecting?
I figured it would be pretty quick.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I just thought, it's an opener. One of these guys has got the massive sort of like entourage, as we'll say.
Yes.
Surely he's going to win anyway, because that would get the crowd hyped up for the start.
Yeah, I assumed
but
as well.
I didn't think it was going to be a long affair.
And I've actually got a Adam Rose. If you see Honky Tonk Man on the shelf, next to him, Adam Rose. There you go.
Very nice.
Between him and Berserker, kind of fitting in many ways. The bell does now sound, and Rose begins, I've put mincing or flouncing his way around the ring, because there's... Prances is a much better word, because there is a bit of a gallop to it, isn't it? Yeah. Yep. Around the ring, before sidestepping Camacho's attempt to lock up. Now Rose is dancing before deciding to run in a big circle, and comes just short of sticking his arms out like an aeroplane before sliding on his knees across the dance floor at a school disco. Camacho engages and ducks under a lock-up attempt before securing a full Nelson. Rose looks to break the hands before eventually settling on grinding against Camacho, who is quick to break the hold. Camacho is furious and appeals to the ref, asking him what is Rose doing. Well, he's grinding. He was dropping it like it was hot. Come on.
Back it up.
Exactly, back it up. Duck of a clothesline from Rose, and he leaps into a side headlock, but also the arms of Camacho. As Rose begins to laugh, Camacho throws him towards the ropes and levels him with a forearm on his return. Reminds me in a weird way of Goldust and Piper from Mania 12.
I can see the comparison.
Yeah, because basically Camacho's like, I'm not gay, don't do gay things, I'm man, me man, me hit chest.
Yeah.
And Aldous Rose is like, Aldous Rose. And
Aldous Rose.
I've mashed the names together. Yeah, so, and Adam Rose is just like, well, nor am I, but I'm going to make fun of this. Yeah. So that's kind of the vibe. Although, thankfully, no one was wearing, like, kind of BDSM gear. And no one broke their fist, also, on a car. So that's also a bonus. Camacho begins stomping away on Adam Rose and picks him up to deliver a big butterfly suplex, but not before shouting, "Party pooper this!" Ooh. Yeah, you tell him, big boy. Hook of the leg earns a 2 count for the alleged Mexican. With Rose on his knees. I had doubts about the character's integrity, I think it's clear to say. With Rose on his knees, Camacho cranks what I can only describe as a half-Japanese stranglehold onto his opponent. No, William Regal corrects me. It's a single-armed necktie. Thank you, Mr. Regal. Rare that it happens, but happy it did, so thank you. Rose reverses out of the hold with a judoka-style throw, but eats a kick and a big right hand shortly after. Oh, shit. Holly.
Yeah?
Adam is rosing up.
Yeah.
His arms begin shaking, and when Camacho hits the ropes, he still eats a big boot to the face that floors him. Well, he tried.
Yep.
He did try.
Yep.
Hook of the legs gets 2. Few forearms to the seated Rose land, and Camacho reapplies the single-arm necktie. Party time. All the time. Party time. All the time. See, that one brought a smile to your face, that one. When Rose makes it back to his feet, he eats a knee to the midsection, and the following right hand drops him. Little Latino shuffle from Camacho, and he scores with a jumping leg drop, but it only gets a count of 1. Headbutt lands, but Camacho ducks too early off the whip and eats a kick. Rose heads to the corner and avoids the charge, blocks a right hand, and then unloads with a series of jabs. Big right hand scores, dropping Camacho, but his whip is reversed, yet he still scores with a nice spinebuster. Very nice spinebuster, actually.
Yeah, it was nice.
I think Regal even said Double A would have been proud of that one. Rose roars to the fans before connecting with a charging back elbow in the corner and kick to the midsection. We are Rosebuds. We are Rosebuds. Rose heads to the opposite corner and signals the choo-choo before connecting with a singular Bronco Buster. We'll call it the throat loosener, I think, for future reference. As Camacho gets back to his feet, he's soon dropped with a party foul, aka blunt force trauma. If you've forgotten what that move looks like, I thought I'd give a modern reference for people. Hook of the legs, and that gets the 1, the 2, the 3. Adam Rose is your winner by pinfall, so you are correct. As Rose begins his celebrations, the Rosebuds reappear and do a lap of the ring before catching their spiritual leader and carrying him backwards up the ramp. And that's when we get full Braun Strowman.
Yes.
With his hacksaw tongue out of his mouth, arm pumping, worried about walking backwards up the ramp face.
Yeah.
Holly, what do you think of the match?
It was alright. It was fine. I gave it 1.75 and I just put nothing wrong with it. Just wasn't that fussed by it, but it was quick enough. Fine.
Okay.
Ticked off first one, that was it?
Yeah, 1.5 stars I went.
Okay.
So not that far off what your summation was.
Yeah.
The difficulty I had with it is that I didn't care about either. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rose had a little bit of shtick about him, so that was, I guess, interesting to a point. But Camacho's just like I'm here to lose the match because there's no upside in me winning.
No.
And losing makes sense. That's how it felt anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
With the Rose Party now leaving, we're shown Tom Phillips, William Regal and Byron Saxton on commentary, and I see out the corner of my eye Holly is shaking her head. Why are you shaking your head?
Because it's such cringe dancing.
Tom asks Byron what he's doing, and we're told it's dancing. It's partway between voguing and shutting blinds, in my opinion, but Tom is a fan of whatever sauce Mr. Regal is throwing down. I can move, you know. And when Regal just says, hello, directly at the camera when introduced with that shit-eating grin like a naughty schoolboy who's been told off, I laughed.
Yeah.
I did laugh. Tom now goes on to tell us about the upcoming number 1 contenders match for the NXT title between Sami Zayn and Tyler Breeze. This is the first you would have heard about this match being on the docket. What went through your head?
Oh, lovely.
Yeah? Okay. We now get shown footage of Sami's journey to Takeover, which starts with his incredible match against Cesaro at NXT Arrival, which we have previously covered as part of our archived shows. Sami talks about how empty he felt when he came up on the short end of that match. He discusses everything he's sacrificed in his normal life just to make it to NXT, which is true, and it's interesting to see a promo like this from Sami given what he goes on to become. He's a still good promo, I think. Yeah. It seems very genuine, but he's now kind of fully comfortable in his shoes, I feel like. I feel like there's still something there where he's like, I'm not fully okay with going whole hog in it, but it's good. It's not bad fine. At all. When he talks of Tyler, he laughs, saying he isn't his type of guy and can't identify with his personality, but that they're both on the same path to the NXT title. And that was quite funny. Yeah. That was good. Back to the arena, and Brandy would like to announce that Tyler Breeze has just entered the building. William Regal says his night has been made and is sure he is looking fabulous. But Holly, that isn't what we see next.
It did confuse me, not going to lie.
Familiar music hits, and out to the ring come the NXT Tag Team Champions. So match number 2, The Ascension versus El Local and Kalisto for the WWE NXT Tag Team titles.
Yes.
You've seen The Ascension.
Yes.
You have enough understanding of The Ascension.
Yes.
Kalisto, I assume you're familiar with as well from Lucha Brothers or whatever. Not Lucha Brothers, what are they called? Lucha Party? Lucha House Party.
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit, what a name.
You got one.
El Local. We'll get to him.
Oh, okay.
I guess you looked at this and went, what are we about to see? Because we've got the meaty man, draggy knuckles, punchy, choppy, kicky, slappy. 2
very different types of wrestling for me here.
And we've got a luchador and a lucha wild boar. So what kind of mesh of styles did you think this was going to be?
Very good.
That was on the fly. I don't have that written down.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a clash.
It does always confuse me, especially when, even if it's a one-on-one, I'd be like, hang on.
Because Kalisto's
same styles, and Kalisto's only little.
Bless him. He's good though.
Yeah, very good.
But against Connor and Victor,
he doesn't
who
make
do
sense to me
a lot.
But I was like, well, all right. Don't mind the Ascension either, so it's fine.
Yeah. Did you know Victor was actually inspired by Jerry Lynn's promo at Judgment Day?
Stop it.
Judgment Day.
Anytime I get to reference that, I'm happy. So with the champions having made their way to the ring, we now see their opponents. Kalisto, you may well be familiar with, Holly, but would be willing to bet you do not know who El Local is, right?
Well, absolutely.
Well, were I to ask you if you remember Alberto Del Rio?
Yeah, do not tell me that that's him.
Well, it isn't him.
Okay.
But remember his personal ring announcer, Ricardo Rodriguez?
No.
Alberto Del Rio! With the curtains, the greasy curtains in the tuxedo.
Really?
This is El Local.
Oh, God.
Make you feel a certain way, this?
Why?
With the challengers now in the squared circle. Funny enough, actually, Jamie and I saw Ricardo Rodriguez have a match.
Right.
Against Sin Cara. And we turned up a little bit late to the venue, but we did see that match was a show opener before the show actually began.
Right.
It was actually pretty good. He wasn't bad at all.
So it's better than this then?
Yeah, so this would have been after we would have seen him, to be fair. So with the challengers now in the squared circle, they begin a lucha chant, but as they are disrobing and the bell sounds, the tag champions come flying across the ring to commence a beatdown. Double whips from the Ascension but both men are countered with Hurricane Runners that send them out of the ring and partly up the aisle. After a second brief lucha chant, the challengers hit the ropes looking for stereo suicide dives, only to be met with two meaty forearms before they can fully make it between the ropes.
I like that.
Holly's fine with that.
Yep.
Victor looks to be starting this one off, and based on the fact he's stomping on Kalisto, I assume he is the designated member of the opposition. Victor looks to be relishing this as he grabs Kalisto by the sides of his head and throws him into the buckles. He lands a right hand and tags in Connor. The champs pull Kalisto out of the corner, twist him up and pull him down to the canvas hard. Decent. Running elbow drop from Connor scores, but he only gets a 2 count. Double underhook lifts Kalisto high into the air, and after a tag back to Victor, the masked man finds a headbutt land in his midsection before he's dropped down to the canvas. Clever, actually. Yeah. Victor claws away through the eye holes of the mask, but has to break the hold. Slowly he pulls Kalisto to his feet by his chin before levelling him back down with a big knife-edge chop that earns a near fall. After a clubbing forearm, Victor picks Kalisto into the air in a back suplex position and walks him across the ring to deposit him on the top turnbuckles in the corner of the champs. Tree of Woe for Kalisto, and now Connor is tagged in and unloads with stomps to the masked man as the crowd chant, "Yah!" with every blow that lands. Pirate themed, apparently, this one. Do you remember Paul Burchill? Holy shit, we've got some covering to do. Paul Burchill was in the WWE, literally had a pirate gimmick, and was from Surrey.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, there will be time. There will be time. Not much time, because he wasn't really around for long, but he was there. He was definitely there. Tag back to Victor, and he raises Kalisto to being parallel with the canvas and clotheslines him down before getting a 2 count on the following cover. Again, fine with that.
Yeah.
Sleeper hold applied. Oh,
boring.
There it is. But Kalisto elbows free, only to find himself thrown through the ropes to the floor. Stepping down from the apron, Connor throws Kalisto back first off the ropes, which would have looked very good if he then hit the barricade, but instead he hits the floor, so it doesn't actually look devastating in any way. It's like it's gone, whee!
It's a good idea, I think, if someone was, and I mean this not in a harsh way, but if someone was a bit bigger and had a bit more weight behind them.
Yeah, fair.
The bounce off, the ricochet off the ropes would have been a bit better.
Or, here's an idea. Connor does that, throws him up, Kalisto kind of catches himself on the rope, Victor drop kicks him in the back from that, and then he goes and hits the barricade. Because he just hits the ropes then hits the floor, so you've just fallen over. Yeah. I like the idea, but what actually happened it didn't look good enough, to be fair. That's my critical eye opinion on that one. The second attempt sees Kalisto hold on to the second rope, so they start to do that, and deliver double boots to Connor, and then drives Victor's face first into the apron after locking his feet around his head. That bit I liked. Yeah. Kalisto re-enters the ring and slowly crawls looking for a tag, but Connor is quick to cut him off. He powers him up over his shoulder and charges him into the champion's corner. Victor now back, and he lights up Kalisto with a chop, but takes too long and charges into a back elbow. The pace quickens as Kalisto jumps from the second rope, secures his feet around Victor's head and rolls him to take him down with a head scissors. El Local now gets the tag and drops Victor with a clothesline before getting a cheap shot in on Connor. Forearm puts Victor back down, and Local scores with a back elbow off a clothesline counter. Springboard, nothing, barely finds its target as the big lad got little rebound off the ropes, and you can actually see a fan in the front row tilting his head upwards towards the heavens, laughing. That's got to suck as a wrestler. It's just, and do you know, I've seen him do this stuff and he's done it fine, but it's just like suddenly there was no rebound at all, and he just kind of turns around like fools. It's bizarre, really bizarre. Whip is reversed, but Locale blocks himself from the bottom buckle with his boot, and from a lying position pushes off to connect with a kick to the top of the head on the charging Victor. That was okay. Second rope moonsault finds its mark, but Connor breaks the pinfall attempt. All four men are in the ring, and Kalisto gets the big man down with an O'Connor roll that he transitions into a rolling kick to the side of the head, which actually, we see later, busted Connor open.
Yep.
Connor rolls to the floor as Victor tosses Kalisto to the outside. Up top, El Local jumps over Victor as he charges in and rolls through, but cannot avoid the running STO that he's met with upon Victor's return. Tag to Connor, and we know what comes next. Fall of Man connects on El Local, turning him inside out, arse over tea kettle, cover, and we get the rah, rah, rah. Or 1, 2, 3 for the English native speaking audience, as we know it, and the Ascension have retained their tag team titles by pinfall. The champions raise their titles in celebration as the lights come down, and Connor can be heard shouting, "Bring on anyone."
Yeah.
Thoughts?
This is going to sound really harsh. I enjoyed it until, Locale got tagged in.
Yep.
I gave it a 2 out of 5.
Wow, okay.
Because for me it was better than, I gave 1.75 to the first match.
Yep.
So I have to give this more. It wasn't too long either. I do like the Ascension. I do. I like the idea of them. Anyway. But, I don't know. It just, the matchup of the tag team didn't work for me.
No, it felt like a glorified squash match that was dragged out. So I had no engagement in it. I didn't, but even though I know that the Ascension didn't lose to them, going into that, I wouldn't have thought the Ascension had any risk of losing to them either. And Kalisto didn't really get to show off. El Local couldn't show off in the couple of things he tried, bless him. I couldn't distinguish this in terms of quality from the opening match, so I just gave it the same score. So 1.5 was my verdict. And I think actually that touches upon quite an interesting or valid point that's worth some sort of discussion on.
Right.
And that's, you said that you quite like what the Ascension brought to the table.
Yes.
There's been a lot of examples, or certainly a number that I can think of off the top of my head, of whether it be tag teams, singles act, whatever the case might be, that were given the opportunity to shine brightly in NXT, and yet when they went to the main roster, for whatever reason, creatively, Vince just didn't see them in the right capacity, never got that opportunity to shine, or just massively under-delivered.
Yeah.
Well, you could look at it in a few ways. You could say underutilized, but maybe that was their level.
Yeah. I think it's probably a massive mix of all of those options.
Probably. I mean, because they made a point at the start of the show with that video opening of showing, look, there's a path to the promised land.
These are the people that have done it well.
Yeah, Shield, Page, even Rusev, who was starting to make waves on it, Cesaro. The list went on. And it was, again, relatively short period of time for NXT already, and they had that kind of back catalogue. But as it went on, there were a lot of people that just fell short of the mark, in my humble opinion.
Okay.
And I'm not necessarily blaming those individuals, but it just didn't land like it should have done. And we saw what they did in NXT and how they were kind of showcased and utilised, and it worked. So who, in your opinion, who are some of the worst people to have transitioned to the main roster, or who were used so badly on the main roster having succeeded in NXT? Because there's a few I can think of, and the Ascension are up there for me.
Yeah.
They might be the ones to beat, if I'm perfectly honest.
Okay. So I've got a couple.
Yeah.
But mine, I think also is, like I said, I think it's a mix of being underutilized, not knowing what to do with them on the main roster, probably because you've also got someone up there already that is doing what they're doing, or the people themselves just not being good on the main roster.
Yeah.
So, Don't hate me for any of these.
No, that's fine. Like I said, we've got talking points. We can discuss them on a case-by-case basis. Shall we start with the Ascension, though?
Let's do it.
Because we've already kind of, like, we've seen what they are shown. I mean, granted, the 2 matches we've seen them in as part of the Arrival and Takeover shows was against Too Cool, it's like a tribute act, isn't it? So they're not really being given the opportunity to shine. The NXT Tag Team division wasn't exactly jumping off like it does in later years, so we've got to factor that in.
Yeah.
So were they...
Just like they look, physically, they look like a tag team that you would go, it'd be a challenge to actually beat them.
I think one thing that held them back on the main roster, apart from Vince, is that when you look at the NXT crowd, they're purist wrestling fans to a point.
Okay.
They're there because they like wrestling. The fact it's WWE, okay, fine. So they want to see... They were so invested in it, whereas that audience transition doesn't necessarily happen to the main roster.
No.
So they were evaluated based on their merits for what they were doing in NXT. And like I said, maybe they were kind of... I don't want to say oversaturated, but there was so little in terms of competition for them there. Maybe it made them look better than they always were.
Yeah, probably.
But when they went to the main roster, I'm pretty sure most fans looked at them and went, that's a shit Legion of Doom.
Yeah.
Or that's a shit Power and Glory. Like, not Power and Glory, I can't think.
I get what you're
Barbarian and
saying.
Warlord.
It looks more like, when you go to the main roster, it looks more like a tribute act rather than anything else.
And they were showcased like absolute jobbers. Like, they were losing to everyone. But they were still going like, oh, we're still tough guys. Oh, we've lost. Oh, we've lost. Oh, we've lost. Well, no, you're just idiots then. So for me, the Ascension are very high on that potential list. But yeah, list some of the other ones that you can think of.
Mr. Baron Corbin.
Mr. Baron Corbin. Disagree.
I think for a good period of time, they did really well. I loved the Lone Wolf thing. I think that's genius.
Which was NXT.
And it was a genius to bring him up as that, leave him there. But then for me, the stuff they did, push in that Happy Corbin, all that rubbish, that to me just lost it completely. Leave him as a Lone Wolf. Fine.
Well, they had to give something to Damien Priest to do, didn't they?
I know.
That's what, to me, that's what it felt like they did. Because when
got someone better that's come along, pass it on.
Baron Corbin, when he left NXT to the main roster, I think Damien Priest was just about starting to get into a bit of his stride, or hadn't quite arrived yet. And Damien Priest just plugged that because he was the Archer of Infamy. He wasn't doing the Lone Wolf thing, but effectively it was the same type of base gimmick at its core.
Like a loner, doesn't need anybody.
I will say, in Baron Corbin's defence, now you might be surprised by this based on some of the things I've said about the guy in the past. He looked like he tried his best with everything they gave him. King Corbin as well. I'll be honest, the look. Happy Corbin was a better look than the spandex wearing bald. That looked weird.
Yeah.
And then he's someone who then they went, again, we don't really have anything for you here. Go back to NXT. Started tag teaming with Bron Breakker and won the NXT tag titles.
Again, that.
Yep.
Oh, I liked that. I don't know. It lost something for me. But that was just one example I had. There's a couple on here that I know you won't like.
Okay.
But one obviously is coming up later. We've already briefly talked about it. It was Neville for me.
Yep, I agree. He's up there for me. He was so wasted. Granted, there were injuries. I remember he broke his ankle in a match with Chris Jericho not long after he was on the main roster. But you look at someone and just go, such a raw talent there. But again, since he's been in AEW, he's had some good matches, don't get me wrong, but he's not exactly lit the world on fire, but very few have, I guess, in AEW, because they're so talent rich, I guess, in terms of the in-ring abilities. But you're right, it never landed. I don't think the gimmick worked.
No.
On the main roster until he turned into the evil bastard.
Who else have I got? Now this one I will pencil up to it being them.
Okay.
No one else's issue. And they were great on the microphone, and I mean one. Big Cass and Enzo. Yep. In NXT, for me, they were, because they were like not a novelty, but no one else was doing what they had. Bring them up to the main roster. You've got them on the mic. Great. No one was doing that. Crowd loved it. Actually being able to perform necessarily, it just died a death for me very quickly.
I don't even think that was the issue. I thought they actually came onto the main roster with quite a big bang, but then quickly fizzled out as a unit. They were split up.
Yeah.
Cass was going through his
Yes, of course.
dark days, which kind of wrote him off because he was being put as like a main event potential threat.
And you know what? I would have been here for that. For me, but to me, he was. Like
he wasn't ready.
He was like a test
He wasn't ready for it.
For me.
That's what I'd say. He wasn't built to the point of being ready for it. They split them up and they went, "Oh, suddenly he's here now already." No. He hadn't had his path upwards to that trajectory yet.
Yeah.
Enzo's a different kettle of fish. He lasted longer than Big Cass, but then his mouth again got... Well, it wasn't even that, actually. Wasn't he let go because of the allegations that were made towards him that then got redacted? Or
I don't know what came first, if I'm totally honest.
But yeah, he ruffled a lot of feathers.
Drama.
Do you remember that portion of the show? I don't know if it was 205 Live or Raw or whatever, but he was standing in the ring with a microphone. All the other cruiserweights were standing around the apron, and one by one he went and like verbally eviscerated them. So he killed the entire cruiserweight division as being credible in that one moment. And Neville, who was stood on the apron as his bastard character, was just... They're all glaring at him, but I was thinking, like, he really wants to fuck him up a bit, to be honest. And that was pretty much one of the last things we saw Adrian Neville do in the WWE. They came out the gates hot, I would say. And Baron Corbin did as well to a certain point. And he had longevity, which a lot of the others haven't.
Yes.
There's another person on this show who I think should be in that category, Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, I agree.
This Tyler Breeze we see on the show, main roster all day.
Genius.
All day.
Absolutely genius.
Better character and better version. I'm not saying in-ring wise, better than Dolph Ziggler as a character. I'm interested in this character.
Yes, character-wise, yes.
In-ring wise, Dolph Ziggler's very good, but I don't think Tyler Breeze is bad.
No, not bad. I would put Dolph above him.
That's fine.
But character-wise,
who would I rather
brilliant.
see? Tyler Breeze.
Really?
Yeah, his not quite as good in-ring work over Dolph Ziggler is completely made up for by everything he does character-wise.
Okay.
It's brilliant.
He's very good at staying in character too.
And don't get me wrong, the stuff he did with Fandango as Breezango, very amusing, but not the caliber. Look, he was going for the NXT title.
Yeah.
He was incredibly so as well. Yeah. Whereas, could you imagine him doing something like that on the main roster? No. Again, he didn't even really have that spark of life. I mean, interesting fact, there's only ever been one match. So, Jushin Thunder Liger, the guy who went up against Brian Pillman opening at Nitro, he only ever had one WWE match. That was in NXT on one of the takeovers. Tyler Breeze was the opponent. They saw something in him, and it just never materialised at that level. But I think there's someone who's... it's night and day how they were used.
Okay.
And I think, honestly, as badly as the Ascension were used, this person wins every day. Yeah. There's an also ran I've got here. Yeah, Tony Storm.
Oh, okay.
Tony Storm
more, but,
did big things. We'll cover that, don't worry. So, did big things in NXT UK, did well in NXT, went to the main roster, kind of lost, then she ended up in Cake or something, and then had a couple of big matches, then just left. Why? Because she was brought in as like a superstar from day dot. Yeah.
True, actually. I hadn't even remembered her.
Because she was being used as like, she was better than Rhea Ripley. Like that was the big feud between the two going through the smaller shows before they made it to WWE, both being Australian, both being a similar age, etc. Imagine that now. Imagine getting proper Tony Storm, Rhea Ripley match. That's, to me, if they're both allowed to do their stuff, give me that at Mania.
Okay.
And they've had some good matches together. Good matches.
Yeah.
So who else have you got on your...
I thought about that. Well, I've got a couple more, but the only one that I've got... The others I'll just reel off names, but the only one that I suppose is current for me as well, which I just don't get it, is Karrion Kross.
Yes, that's a good shout. I'd overlooked him.
To me, he has so much potential.
Good promo, great look.
Great look. He is good on a mic.
Yeah.
Outstanding to me, and he's just there.
Do you know what I think his issue is? It's not coming from a place of jealousy. The hair. When he had the shaved head psycho look, it looked more fearsome than it does with the long, beautifully oiled hair. And I'm not saying that's enough to hold him back, but to me, he's in my head, and that's maybe because he actually did more when he had the shaved head than when he did. But do you remember how they brought him up the first time? And they put him in this like kind of gladiator warrior type. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And
don't
yet that's
know.
not the worst offence they did.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's the person I'm saving for the main event. So if you've got...
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just reel mine off.
Yeah, go
with
for it.
No real... And most of mine are people that had a chance
Yep.
and then it just fizzled out.
Yep.
Alistair Black.
Yep, fine.
To me, he could be as big as... I mean, he's massive, effectively, where he is.
Oh, where he
Ish.
is?
But,
Where do you think he is?
Well, who knows at this point?
He's not there.
No, I know. That's why I said I don't know at this point. But like, to me, he could be
Night after Raw?
effectively Seth Rollins, like level, and those two I'd happily watch roll around together.
Maybe a night after WrestleMania
Maybe.
reappearance.
Maybe Pete Dunne for me.
I nearly put him when the Butch thing happened, but he's now gone back to Pete Dunne and done a little bit more.
Yeah.
So there's still time for him, but it's noted.
Fizzled. And then I've only got one more, and it's just to annoy you. Mojo Rawley.
No.
I know, I just said it to annoy you.
But no,
But I liked him in NXT, and then I thought they brought him up, and I was just like,
you've missed the
don't really
biggest
care.
one.
Go on.
Keith Lee.
Yeah.
Keith Lee, North American and NXT champion at the same time, beating Adam Cole, unified them. Do you remember how he was used on Survivor Series when NXT had their team?
No. Not
Dominating the likes of Roman Reigns and stuff in that 5-on-5-on-5 match. NXT won that match, and Keith Lee was the reason why. Keith Lee was being built up as an all-conquering badass.
right.
Main roster, Bearcat Keith Lee. Put him in a singlet,
Yeah.
absolutely killed him off. It was the biggest, most egregious drop-off
Yeah.
from NXT to the main roster.
Okay.
Criminal to the point where, because Keith Lee had the following, had the people, he's a sweetheart as
Yeah.
well. Unique look, but man, he could fucking move.
Yeah.
Like throwing moonsaults and shit at that size is unbelievable. Shown that he was a great champion, that he could do it at a high level, and then it's not even like he had any chance of going further up on the main roster. Straight away, oh, you're this, oh, he's gone. It was ridiculous. Honestly, I think for me, because I had it in my head, Ascension were going to win this.
Yeah.
And then I went, oh my God, Keith Lee. And to me, that's it. Because you look at the likes of Adam Cole. Adam Cole had a couple matches on the main roster, but was never officially main roster.
Yeah.
So that would have been an interesting one, see how that had panned out. But so who would you say is yours in terms of the
top
biggest
pick?
flop?
Cross so far.
Karrion Kross, fair enough. And mine's Keith Lee. But I think we covered how many times they could. But it doesn't always work that way.
No.
I mean, someone else who didn't do overly well, Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
But people who've done well, you've got your Balors, your Nakamuras, your Zayn's, your Kevin Owens, and we've already listed a load from before that, and there's so many more.
Yeah.
Someone who I'd have been interested to see how they did do on the main roster had a certain outside of work activities not prevented them from doing so is Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, yeah.
That character, phenomenal. Phenomenal character, very good in-ring wrestler.
Yes. Yeah.
Young, like he ticks
I
all the
know.
boxes. Wish I'd chosen different wording now that I said that. But there could have been a lot of upside for there. But yeah, for me,
Yeah.
Bearcat Keith Lee. Oh dear. Oh dear. But actually, one more thing I missed from the Ascension match, going back to the regularly scheduled programming, is the champions raise their titles in celebration as the lights come down, and Connor can be heard shouting, "Bring on anyone. Just not on the main roster, please." The cameras head backstage where we get a shot of Sami Zayn lacing up his boots in a darkened room, which makes for a good visual but a general poor decision on how to get dressed. In contrast, in a well-lit changing room, we see the very pink Tyler Breeze checking out his hair in a mirror with his perma pout plastered onto his face. For those wondering, yes, he is filming the whole thing. Much like we did earlier for Zayn, we get a similar promo package for Tyler Breeze. We see Tyler backstage ask if a very young Alexa Bliss wants to get a photo, and she says yes and leans in, but hold your horses. Can you take a picture of me, please? Brilliant.
Good. Yeah.
Breeze conducts his sit-down interview whilst continually staring at himself in his own camera as though streaming, but he does eventually part ways with it to address the main camera as well as the assumed off-screen interviewer. Tyler says that we've not seen everything he's capable of, and he refers to Zayn as a perpetual loser. Breeze is a winner. He isn't just a pretty face, and he will become NXT champion. Very good.
Yeah.
Very good, Mr. Breeze. Very good. Battle of the Canadians now. Number 1 contenders match for the NXT title, we've got Sami Zayn versus Tyler Breeze. Now, I would be lying if I said my expectation going into this was that this wouldn't be, or this would be, I should say, the best match of the night.
Okay.
Just almost off the back of Sami Zayn alone.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
Whether that would prove to be the case, I guess we'll find out as we go through our scores. But I assume you were expecting a high-quality match.
Yeah.
Fair. As befitting this time period, Sami Zayn makes his way to the ring with high energy as the crowd serenade him with olays. The cameraman nearly runs the lens right into Zayn's tits, but it actually works with the frenzied energy of the man himself. Now, Holly, I'll always have a soft spot for Tyler Breeze's entrance. It's great. Close-up of his fur boots as he walks out, then the close-up of his face as he looks up like something out of Zoolander. He marches his way down to the ring, focused on his own reflection in his phone on the selfie stick, which he hasn't yet got, but that is on the way. Posing at every opportunity, then lying across the top rope.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Really great.
The only thing that happened to this entrance that made it better was when they started streaming what was on his phone.
Yes.
That was the only thing that made it better.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
that is true.
Genius.
That is true. Easy contender for outfit of the night right here, but I won't ask Holly to give the game away just yet. The bell sounds and the two men cautiously circle one another. After tentative swipes at one another, Zayn latches onto an arm and turns it into a wrist lock. Nice counter by Breeze, who applies one of his own until Zayn spins and whips Breeze down to the canvas whilst retaining control of the wrist. Tyler rolls back to his knees and decides the best way to escape is to claw at the eyes, at which point he transitions to a straight arm lock. And yes, that was Holly booing. Whip sends Sami to the ropes, but he springs off the bottom rung and leapfrogs backwards over Breeze before scoring with 2 quick arm drags and a lucha variant to round off the trio. Fan?
Yeah, nice.
Zayn retains a straight arm lock as the fans return to their Olay chants. Once again, Breeze gets back to his knees and this time looks to counter by grabbing the hair and marching Zayn towards the corner. Sami decides to grab the hair too, and now they are taking it in turns, pulling at each other's locks. Zayn eventually gets the better of it and applies a side headlock, returning to the middle of the ring. Whip sends Breeze into the ropes and he's caught with a leg lariat that floors him. Face first into the buckles goes Breeze and Zayn takes the opportunity to muss up Prince Pretty's face. Corner whip is reversed, but Breeze charges into a back elbow, but catches the boot that follows from Zayn, who was sat on the top buckles, but is now spun uncontrollably down to the floor. Quite nice. Actually, that looked a sketchy landing as well. The ref begins his count, but Zayn returns by 7. Now Sami is sent into the buckles, and Breeze unloads with a flurry of boots that wilts his opponent. Using the boot, Tyler chokes Sami over the bottom rope. His following knee drop connects, but is only enough for 2. Measured right hand, and now this is unique. Breeze runs to the buckles and jumps through the ropes, bulldogging Zayn's head against the middle pad. Hook of the leg for a near fall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was decent, that.
Yeah, I like it.
Nasty forearms and elbows land, and Zayn finds his face driven into the canvas, but he does kick out at 2. Front face lock applied by Breeze, and he's certainly demonstrating more of that edge he was referring to in his pre-match promo. Making his way back to his feet, Zayn tries on 2 occasions to lift Breeze in order to release the hold without success, but the third time he succeeds and drops Tyler on his face with a "what is this move called, Holly?"
Oh, God, no. I don't know.
Flapjack.
Oh, every bloody time. Sake.
There needs to be, again, if we ever get to merchandising, we need a shirt that just says Flapjack, exclamation mark, and electric, actually not electric chair, because that can be taken for many different things. Sami ducks a wild right from Breeze and feints him into charging towards the ropes where he low bridges Prince Pretty, sending him over and out. From the apron, Sami springs to the top and connects with a springboard moonsault that acts almost like a reverse DDT that cannot have felt good. Look cool though.
It did.
Look very cool though. Tom Phillips, I'm going to just go over to him for 1 second, says on commentary that this is something we have never seen from Sami. Which I don't believe to be true, and not only do I not believe it to be true, I'm pretty sure he hit the same exact fucking move on Cesaro at Arrival. Did he not?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Okay, good. I think, to be fair, Cesaro might have
Phillips
caught him.
Yes. Oh, damn, we can't even say he was never seen
Exactly.
it.
But I think Cesaro caught him over the
yeah.
shoulder, and he nearly dropped him, and then staggered back, then slammed him with a tilt-well slam. But yeah, absolutely you've seen him do that.
Outrageous.
Come on, Tom. Bitch. With Breeze rolling back into the ring, Zayn heads up top and connects with a beautiful crossbody that gets him the 1, 2, no. Blue Thunderbomb is blocked and Breeze rains down elbows, but when he goes to hit the ropes, he's pulled back and cannot avoid Zayn hitting it on the second attempt. 1, 2, again, Tyler kicks out. The fans want to see it one more time as we learn that Tyler Breeze is trending on Twitter. Good for him. Zayn heads back up to the top rope where he leaps over Breeze, rolls through, but charges into a side kick to the stomach. Spinning Impaler DDT connects and we get the 1, 2, no, Sammy kicks out. Both men are struggling to regain their feet and Zayn backs himself into a corner. What were you thinking at this point of the match? Do you think it was over-delivering or doing roughly what you thought it was going to?
I'll be honest, I thought it was giving what I thought it would.
Okay, fair. Breeze has hold of the ankles and after a brief tussle, yanks him high into the air from a seated position to connect with a sit-out powerbomb. Near fall once more. Very nice. Sammy looks punch-drunk, and if he wasn't already, he certainly is after 2 flurries of right hands from Breeze land. Zayn has a distant look in his eyes, but maybe he is playing possum as when he's pulled to his feet, he springs to life with an exploder that sees Tyler land upside down against the buckles. Both men are down, and when they return to their feet, they slowly exchange big right hands which Zayn gets the better of. Whip reversal sees Sammy throw the brakes on to prevent a collision with the official, who cowers before him, and that brief moment allows Breeze to roll him up with a schoolboy that Sammy only just kicks out from. Clothesline is ducked, but Breeze likewise lands on his feet to prevent a Blue Thunder bomb. Chain waistlock reversals results in Sammy looking for an O'Connor roll, but Tyler holds on. Superkick finds its mark as Zayn rushes back in and he sells it like the lights have gone out in Georgia. Hook of the leg gets the 1, 2, no. Somehow Zayn kicks out. Really good that. Both men are down and the crowd try to rouse Zayn with more Olay chants. Breeze looks to be in disbelief as he makes his way towards Sammy and scores with measured right hands. Slap in response from Sammy sees Tyler explode with a flurry of punches, really losing his rag. Whip is blocked as Zayn holds onto the ropes and he places Tyler between his legs. What? Whip is placed as Zayn holds onto the ropes and he places Tyler between his legs. Oh yeah, okay. He secures knuckle locks and tries to flip Tyler up but loses balance and they roll through, which, okay, you kind of covered the blushes there a bit. Not happy with that. Zayn stands back up, securing Breeze in the same position and scores with a suplex release into a powerbomb. That bit was sensational. Imagine if they hadn't had to do that roll through because they were tilting. That would have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
Still very good.
Yeah.
Still very good. And we get the 1, 2. No, Breeze has his shoulder up at 2. This is awesome. As both men delay getting back to their feet. When they do, Breeze backs into a corner but has just enough about him to slide out of the ring before Zayn can score with a haluva kick. Sammy wastes no time. Changing tact, he hits the ropes and sails over the top with a senton that levels Breeze and once more sees his head bounce off the rampway. Concussion City, am I right?
Sounds awful.
Holy shit, leads to ole, 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 ole. Sammy rolls Tyler back into the ring and perhaps with one of the greatest counters I have ever seen, Breeze falls to his knees and covers up to avoid the haluva kick, thus inadvertently elbowing Zayn in the bollocks. Genius.
Isn't it just?
I saw that and went, that is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Literally out loud, I thought that was brilliant. Beauty shots find its home. That's Tyler Breeze's issue. That's not a great finishing move.
Yeah.
Beauty shot finds its home and we get a hook of the leg for the 1, 2, 3. Tyler Breeze wins by pinfall and is the number 1 contender for the NXT title. As a wounded Zayn limps his way outside the ring, Tyler is once again in possession of his phone, checking his appearance. Holly, were you surprised by this outcome?
No.
I was.
No.
I really was.
Oh, really? Okay.
I thought, I'll be honest, because I remember the main event of the next takeover.
Right, okay.
Well,
Sure.
yeah.
Get there.
So I thought Sami Zayn
Okay.
was going to win this because it makes sense. But now it also makes sense for another reason as to why Tyler won. But yeah, I genuinely thought, oh yeah,
Yeah.
Sami didn't win. What?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it didn't surprise me just because obviously I haven't got a clue, so I'm just watching as it is.
Yep.
And I just thought both were very good. So actually, it wouldn't have surprised me either way, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I thought it was a very good match. Give it 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it even more than that. 3.75.
Okay.
I gave it. I thought it was very good. There were moments where I didn't quite care for the pacing of it, I'd say, where like Sammy was punch drunk and Tyler was offloading on him. okay, but they did that a few too many times, and the pauses were just a little bit too long.
Yeah.
But the content of the match, very good.
Yeah.
I just couldn't quite give it a 4-star in my head, so that's why I pulled it back. I thought you'd be closer to my score. I thought you might be 3.5 or something.
I did like it. It was good. I don't know, just something.
What do you think was missing? If you can put your finger on it, or
I don't know.
or like it had this, so therefore it didn't have that, and that's why it held it back. Was it? Did you not care about the result? Did you not care about the people?
I don't know. I like both of them.
Yeah.
I like them. Do I care? I don't know.
So maybe it was that.
Maybe.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, maybe.
Whereas
and I like Sami Zayn a lot. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no, it's not meant as an indictment on you.
But in some of the matches I've seen, I don't know if I care.
Okay.
Whereas when we watched him with Cesaro, fully back Cesaro all day long, I care.
I wonder why.
No, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, whereas where it's both of these two together, I wouldn't have been surprised
So I've got a
if
question.
either had won.
Do you only care about Sami Zayn matches when the person he's going against you have strong feelings about either way?
Maybe.
Sami Zayn alone is not enough to make you
I
really
think-
care about him winning.
Okay, so I'm going to say something, and I know you will disagree, and I totally appreciate you'll disagree.
That's what we're here for, discussion.
Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care.
I don't, because I like both, so...
But again, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But put him against someone who...
Okay, Sami Zayn against Dolph Ziggler.
Then I think probably that's the nail on the head.
Okay, I'm trying to think. Sami Zayn,
And it's not
Seth
just
Rollins.
Him, it's not just him against pretty people. Either.
No,
It's
but
just-
people you have strong feelings for.
Yeah.
Sami Zayn against Baron Corbin.
Oh, that'd make me sad.
I'm trying to think of someone else. I'm trying to think of the opposite, though, like someone who I know you don't like.
So that I would go for...
So, but to see if you get the same reaction of caring. So,
yeah, but I mean, put him in a match with, say, anyone of the bloodline that's not Reigns and that lot. Do you know what I mean? Put him against
Jacob
Sikoa
Fatu.
or all of that lot. I don't think I care.
Okay. CM Punk?
Oh, I don't know, you know. I do like me some Punk, but
Drew McIntyre?
No, see that will break the routine. I do not care for that anymore.
Saturday night's main event, you like that match?
Yeah, but give it to me again.
You're not fast.
I'm not bothered
So once
anymore.
you've seen it, you're a one and done, you're a wham bam thank you man type girl.
Maybe.
You're
With
a
Sami
wrestling-
Zayn, I'm done.
You're a wrestling one night stander. I see how it is. Okay.
That's the main event, I think.
What?
A pay-per-view. One night stand, they did, didn't they?
They did do that, yeah. But I was thinking, when do they do a wham bam thank you man
no.
show? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Something about it. It's like sometimes I'm invested, sometimes I just don't care, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly reasonable. I'm just trying to see if I can, because
Yeah.
sometimes you don't quite know why you feel a certain
I
way. So I
don't.
think if I ask pointed questions, you might land there. So I thought that'd be worthwhile at least scratching the surface on. I find that interesting, trying to work out your psyche and how you think about certain things.
We'll see in the future what Sami Zayn matches come up, and we'll guess how much I'm going to care.
Because I know you. I think it's fair to say I know you fairly well, and I know mostly how your brain works. But there's
Right.
still those little pockets where I don't quite know how the neurons kind of connect to
Don't
one
think I
another.
do half the time.
Well, and that's probably half the battle for me, to be fair. But no, like I said, I find that stuff interesting when you try and kind of explore that. With that match in the books, we head back to the commentary desk where Byron Saxton is waxing lyrical about how much he enjoyed that match. Tom Phillips informs us that after the show we'll have NXT Takeover Fallout. That sounds like a show as well. On the WWE Network, and then after that we have a special episode of WWE Legends House. Now, Holly, have you ever heard of WWE Legends House?
Yes.
Okay. Not even for a show. Actually, no, for a show. I would like to watch an episode of that live with you, just to hear you going fucking mental about Jimmy Hart.
Oh no, I've heard about it, and I saw it I saw
Yes.
the icon for it, whatever you call it, when it was on network. But
On Network.
oh, did I?
Yeah, you did.
On the network.
On Network.
On network. But no.
No. But it's got
I mean, by all
Sergeant
means,
Slaughter.
Fine. We can
got
watch it, but it make me very angry.
It's got Hacksaw Jim
Can we
Duggan.
wait till I'm actually getting a good sleeping pattern?
Pattern! Holy shit! Holy shit! What was that?
I don't know what that was. That was very
You
good.
went Bristolian.
That's great.
I've
I
never
could even do that.
Pattern.
That's
is
great.
amazing. Thank you.
Pattern.
Oh,
Gosh.
carry on. Sorry.
I'm so impressed with myself.
I just need a moment
I
here.
didn't know that could happen. But yes, let's leave that till I get a better sleeping pattern in. please. Thank you.
No, that's fine. Well, to be fair, it might help you go to sleep, to be honest.
True.
We still haven't done one of those the drinking shows yet that we were talking about. That was one of my favourite ones that we did that for, so we need to try and schedule that in at a time that works for both of us. Backstage, we are shown Tyson Kidd, Natalya, and friend of the show, Bret the Hitman Hart, in discussion backstage. No doubt about their upcoming matches later tonight. A graphic now appears on the screen depicting Charlotte Flair with Ric Flair and Natalya with Bret Hart as they are scheduled to compete for the NXT Women's title later tonight. Tom refers to them as divas, and it really doesn't hit the ear right for me. Not that it ever really did. I always thought that was weird because diva is like an insult.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll stop being a diva. But obviously that wasn't what they were going for, but it was still in the era where we weren't at the women's evolution. Paige, kind of like, I know they say the Bella started the...
Right,
for me, Paige was the one that actually flipped it because she was the anti-diva, and then everything else kind of came after the fact. And just hearing them talked about as divas. But I will say this, and it surprised me, and I can't... Still don't believe that I think this, but I do. Looking back at how the Divas title looks, that's quite an attractive title belt. It's very feminine. It's like overly feminine. But I looked at it and went, do you know what? It's actually not nearly as horrendous as much. It's just because of the people that had it.
Right. Okay.
So when you think Layla, Alicia Fox, I go, it's an accessory. Yeah. But when you look at the title by itself, I'm like, it's a very pretty...
Aesthetically pleasing.
It is. And when you think of how relatively tame the women's title was by comparison, I was like, oh, okay, that was much better looking than I remember. But obviously I just think of all the negative connotations of the title reigns, the storylines. My brain, Divas title, the next thing I think of is the line Piggy James. Every time. And that's so bad. But yeah, I can't... The title looked all right. Okay. Tom refers to them as divas. The following graphic is of Adrian Neville, who is set to defend the NXT title against Tyson Kidd. And I really can't remember what I thought of this match at the time. I then start to remember as we get closer to it. We briefly head back to the ring, where Brandy introduces us to the ravishing Russian Lana, who then appears at the entryway in a bright red suit, or bright red business suit, and Lana instructs the NXT universe to rise for the super athlete Rusev. Lana's looking alright, isn't she?
Legs for days. My God, if I could literally wake up tomorrow with anyone's figure, well, this woman right here would be the one. She is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Sorry, you left me with that thought a bit too long there. No, it's good, yeah.
You enjoy that?
She was alright. I thought she applied her makeup well. Her hair was very neatly in a bun, and the red suit was nice.
Yes. Worked well.
I didn't actually notice she had legs.
For days.
Wow, okay. God, I'll have to revisit that. Rusev comes out waving the Russian flag, him with hair, weird. But he's waving the flag like his very life depends on it, like he's stranded on an island, a plane's coming by and he's trying to flag it down for attention.
Oh, okay.
And he's doing this all the way up until they enter the ring. Lana says, much like Europe have spread across... What? Much like Russia have spread across Europe to become the world's next superpower, so has Rusev on Raw and SmackDown. Oof.
I mean, she also references something else soon, and it's like, I get we're watching it because it's like...
But it wasn't even, like, it's tone deaf now,
yeah,
but it's bad back then as well, because 2014 is when Russia then took Crimea back from Ukraine. Okay. That I'm pretty sure that was 2014. That's when this show was taking place. Whether that had happened around that time or not, I don't know. But I'm like, ooh, gets better. You think they've hit the peak talking about Russia. No, they have not. They have not. Apparently, he's been asked to return to NXT to receive an award for all the peasants' heads he has stepped on during his rise to the top. I laughed. Lana now asks everyone to rise for Rusev again, much like they would for Russia's great leader, and I am quoting here, Vladimir Putin. And a picture of the man himself is now shown on the screen, to a smattering of boos and confusion. Did you ever think, Holly?
No.
It's almost topical that a picture of old Vladdy is up on the screen at a WWE show in Florida.
I say no. But there's many things that have happened at WWE shows that I never thought would happen, so... I shouldn't be surprised.
The
but no.
the wheels were turning as well in my head about what we'd seen in this little segment so far, and I went, I won't say it yet, and I just went, no.
I'll be honest, I freaking knew. I went,
no.
You're joking me. I know something's going to happen here.
No, surely not. And this was like the most, to quote Shrek, this had it was an onion. There were layers upon layers of oddities, annoyances, frustrations. Lana, like this had everything. It had the highs, the lows,
all the emotions for you there.
A lot of in between. Yeah, all the emotions. Yeah. Rusev now signs off with his usual Rusev Machka thing, which I think means crush, I'm guessing, based on the way he does it, and furiously resumes waving the flag, and sadly, Holly, this is where it actually takes a turn for the worse, believe it or not, as we hear the music of Mojo Rawley.
Yeah.
Colin Sharp makes his way to the ring. He won't have heard this.
It's true, though.
Yeah, no wonder you like him. The hype man appears waving a US flag. That is all kinds of messy. Rusev waved it better, furiously, but the flag kept it retained its structural integrity, whereas Mojo's was kind of...
He's not been watching Duggan, has he?
No, he hasn't. Ho, indeed. Oh, good, he has a microphone too. Mojo has apparently been hearing a lot of hype about Russia, which is a really odd choice of wording, and then rightly points out that they're in the USA. And because they're in the USA, Holly, they don't get hyped. They stay hyped!
Jesus.
He thinks it is about time someone goes down to the ring and takes that flag and shoves it right up Rusev's Putin. Now, I will say this. That is a very good line. That's a very good line, and I'm annoyed I liked it. But...
it was good.
Congratulations, Mojo. That was good.
Yeah.
Right, I'll say it now. There is no fucking way we just landed on another fucking flag match.
No, we didn't, though.
No, we didn't.
So, before that comes in, when we asked Keith to find a match where, US doesn't come out on top, this doesn't count, because it's not a match.
We got this shit on lockdown, is all I'm saying. Mojo sprints down to the ring, and I audibly pop when he runs right into a jumping sidekick from Rusev. Rusev grabs a handful of Mojo's shirt and rains down with right hands. Now he rips the shirt off his back and tosses Mojo into the corner. Running Avalanche connects, and Rusev follows this up with the accolade. Oh shit, is this the first time we've seen an almost flag match where the US flag wasn't waved at the end? So you're telling me that one show, after saying I have never seen it, we time travel 26 years and happen to practically witness it?
I know.
Serendipity.
Doesn't count.
It doesn't count, but I think it's the closest we're ever going to get to it.
Yeah, probably. Because when we do see Rusev in a flag match...
But what are the odds?
We've seen that.
Genuinely, what are the odds? There was no rhyme or reason.
No.
That's mental. I was the whole time...
It did make me laugh, but also a little bit sad at the same time.
Yeah, the whole time that segment was going on, my face was like... Because I was like appealing for you, but you weren't there, because obviously you were watching. I was like, this is ridiculous.
And I'd already seen this before you
Yes,
got
you had.
There, and I was
yes,
like,
you had.
Waiting for you to get to that point.
Rusev throws Mojo out of the ring and returns to celebrating. That is until Lana sends him back up the ramp to slap the accolade on for a second time. Now, that it strikes me as the type of thing that most blokes would do pretty much anything Lana asked for. I think they'd crawl on their hands and knees through 2 miles of broken glass to hear a fart down a fucking walkie-talkie.
Probably.
So I think this is probably well within his remit to just go, I'll do this. Obviously, they are no longer together.
No.
When he releases the hold, he raises his arms over the writhing, I'll put withering here, writhing Mojo, and I'm absolutely 100% okay with this. I'm counting this as a win for Scott. William Regal, with a contender for line of the night when talking about the US, says, I've always said this is a wonderful country. It could just do with a population transplant.
Jesus.
Shots fired. Funny. Very funny. Regal then goes on to say that he hopes by wearing a red shirt it will save him from the wrath of Rusev. Yes, because he will mistake you for Red Square in fucking Russia. That's exactly what will happen. Tom once again mentions the upcoming Fallout and special WWE Legends house, but unfortunately flubs his words. But we are soon redirected backstage, where a smiling and very young-looking Charlotte Flair, who looks like she's wearing dentures, is walking with her old man, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, behind her. I don't quite know what he's saying, but it's making her laugh. We now transition to a promo package showcasing the journey to the NXT Women's title match. So in the first semi-final, we see Charlotte beat Alexa Bliss, and my God, does she look different here.
Mm-hmm.
I've got to say it. I didn't like Alexa Bliss's look here.
No.
Nothing for me.
No,
Not
really?
a thing. Not a thing.
Wow, okay. Gosh.
Not saying she's unattractive, but
No.
like I wouldn't have
Well, because
done
you're
a double
such
take.
a fan for her anyway, so that's quite
I
surprising.
like her body of work.
Yes, of course you do.
I do. I just think she's genuinely had good matches.
Yeah.
Great body of work. But at the time, it was just a bit too... Because I think when she originally came into NXT, she was doing a cheerleader type gimmick.
Yes,
Because
she did,
was with Buddy Murphy in many respects. And she was managing their tag team before going on her own thing as the cheerleader, which then quickly became... I would guess Harley Quinn type vibes, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But then Liv Morgan kind of did a similar-ish thing, but in a weirdly in a very different way. It's like they're playing two versions of the same character.
Agreed, yeah.
Like how you've got Jack Nicholson's Joker, you've got Heath Ledger's Joker, very different but the same character.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I've just bigged up both of these women's abilities massively here,
Really
but
have,
that
yeah.
is an equivalent of what I'm thinking of, not in terms of acting level. Although I'll be fair, Liv Morgan's actually pretty good at. I don't massively rate Alexa Bliss's acting in certain situations. It looks a bit hokey, but Liv Morgan's all right. And anyway, that's my thought on Alexa Bliss. In semi-final number 2, Natalya submits Sasha Banks, which causes Holly to erupt into cheers, and we're all set for the match this evening. Also, Sasha looked very different as well.
They all do, though. All of the women from that. I think obviously women in general, but you go back and look at Becky Lynch back then as well, and then look at her as she evolved onto the main roster as well. They all look so different.
Yeah.
It's like...
I miss steampunk Becky.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Like I said to you before, I can't imagine in intimate moments, shall we say,
Right.
with her hearing that voice and being like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You wouldn't say that is a chocolate voice. That voice is not chocolatey. That voice is Brillo pad.
Okay.
To me.
I'm in no position to comment on people's voices, in my opinion.
No, your voice is fine.
Yeah, I just think if you look at all of the women around at that time, their physical transformations.
Are you talking about glow ups?
Not even necessarily.
They didn't really.
glow up,
Bliss had
a lot
surgeries.
of them look different. Yeah, and I'm not even just
Well,
talking about surgery, but I mean like oh my God, what are the words? But like even the makeup team.
So glow ups
obviously
basically.
Stuff like it's also different. The hair colours, everything. They all look so different.
Yeah, I mean Bliss obviously did have a lot of the cosmetic surgeries done. I don't think a lot of the others did. I could be wrong. Charlotte did, obviously, but Sasha Banks I don't think that I'm aware of.
No.
Becky Lynch I don't believe did either. Bailey didn't, but I guess because we briefly see a very small clip of Bailey as well in this. But it's interesting to see. Obviously, like you said, we know where these women, what they go on to become in a very short period of time, realistically. And it's very much that transitional phase. It's like you're seeing the development, like the graduation in many respects. And that's, to me, what NXT was. It was the graduating pool of the next level that were coming through. And to see it at this stage for the women was interesting.
Yeah.
And I've got the same issue with this match that I do with the main event, but not to the same extent.
Okay.
Natalya has been around for a long time.
Yes.
She's always kind of plateaued at a certain level. She'll get the occasional bit where she goes up and then comes right back down, stays that level up and then back down.
To me, she's at a glass ceiling. Like she will
very
never
much so
go higher than.
And that window has gone by for her, I think, at this point. To be fair, which is a shame because she shows, maybe specifically in this match, exactly what she can do.
She's very, for the company, she is the perfect person to put people with to bring them up.
She is the female Dolph Ziggler. Mm-hmm. I look at them the same way, the exact same way, to be honest. Both very good in the ring. Both can get good matches out of whoever they're put in with, but both cannot get to that next level.
Agree.
And I thought that was going to hold me back here in caring about this match.
Okay.
Because I was interested already to see how far Charlotte was along with her development.
Yeah.
but you knew where you stood with Natty already.
Mm-hmm.
And again, my thoughts going into the main event are even more extreme than what they are in this one.
Okay.
But I was intrigued. I was intrigued with this one. Charlotte says... Oh, no, sorry. No, in her interview, Natalya said she always felt as though she had to be better than all of the Harts, better than her uncles, better than her granddad, and better than her own father. She has definitely had a better career than her father. That I will say comfortably. Charlotte says that when she... And most of her uncles. Charlotte says that when she first arrived in NXT, she didn't want to be associated with the Flair name. But now she's proud to carry it going forward. Do you believe that?
No.
I could see it, though.
I can understand it, but also if you didn't have the Flair name...
Do you think she was a bit too generic? Early doors to stand out? Do you think...
A little bit. I mean, I'm a massive Charlotte fan.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
But I also do think if you don't have that name, you also don't have the people that are going to want to push you and help you as much as the random, Jane Doe or whatever off the street. You've got more doors open to you immediately than you have before.
Can I ask you a question then?
You can ask it.
Fair enough.
I don't know if you'll get a good answer.
I think I will. Let's say Charlotte wasn't actually related to Flair.
Yeah.
So Charlotte Stevens, whatever.
Sure.
She does get the job in WWE.
Yeah.
How far do you think she goes? Do you think she replicates what she's done, or do you think she falls short of it?
Oh.
Because her talent is undeniable.
Oh, outstanding.
Undeniable, but
Absolutely
you don't know that
outstanding.
out the gates.
Exactly. I don't know. I'd like to say that her talent would effectively shine through, but a lot of, for me, her promo stuff obviously is for me, like anybody is better at later dates.
Yeah.
And I do think initially it's I'm a Flair. Tough. And it works for the character, to be fair, but if she wasn't, would she have got swallowed up in the system? I don't think so, because I think looking at the other women
I think she
at
would
that
have come
time,
through.
Her talent was far superior, in my opinion.
I do think she would have come through, but I don't know if she would have had as many reigns and all this kind of stuff, because there's a lot of pomp and circumstance, not to quote Randy Savage's music, about her whole appearance. It is her dad's appearance. It's a modified version of her song for his song for her, which is great, by the way.
Brilliant.
And she is phenomenal in the ring.
Absolutely.
But I don't know if that's ever allowed to bloom as much as it has without the initial starting point. And that's life. That is how it works. It's a form of nepotism. That's fine. And that's not to say she doesn't fully merit the success she's had. But I do wonder, without that initial kick-start, if she would have I still think she would have won some world titles, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't think she'd be that.
Yeah.
I think without her, Rhea Ripley just stands in a field by herself.
Yeah.
In terms of achievements and stuff, personally. But it's interesting to think about, because it's never something that we can actually put into practice.
You're never going to know.
No, because you'll never know, exactly.
Ultimately.
That time is very linear in that respect. And also, if Ric Flair didn't have her as a kid, then she wouldn't exist at all. So now I'm going into a bit of a minefield here, so we'll move on. Flair says that if you saw a reel of her from 2 years ago and one from now, you wouldn't recognise them as being the same people. And that's not a enhancements joke there. That is genuinely what was said. And she will continue to shock people with her development, which now I think about it is actually quite funny, but true. Charlotte says she is genetically different. Natalya hopes that Charlotte will be able to accept it when she's tapping out in the sharpshooter in front of her father. Rick says this feud has been going on for years, where Brett retorts, a Flair is never going to beat a Hart. With the conclusion of that package, we see that sat in the crowd is Chris Christopherson, who waves to the cameras and the fans at home. Okay. Yep. Before the introductions can be made for the match, however, we hear the music of former NXT Women's Champion Paige, and she, alongside her Divas title, head down to the ring. God, she looks different, doesn't she?
Yeah, she looks clean.
I mean, yeah.
For me, Paige did get to a stage where I was a bit like, wash your hair.
Okay.
Like it got a little bit too dirty. Like
I'm glad you said hair.
Grimy for me. I don't know. But yeah, she looks great. But I don't care.
Innocent.
Why are you here?
She looks innocent. Untainted by the hardships of life.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was when I was actually fully behind Paige in terms of a character. Look, everything was great. like she was the anti-diva and then she did everything
She says
to...
she's the anti-diva though here, but I look at this outfit here and I think you're not, because you got sky-high heels on, you got skinny jeans on, your midriff is out, your tits are out. Like, you're not. Ultimately.
Okay, interesting.
In my opinion.
Okay, well, she hasn't had the enhancements and stuff, which I think was a
No.
large part of the jab that she was making.
But
She doesn't have the tan.
Yeah, I get that she kind of had the, I suppose, the gothic kind of
Yes,
vibe.
yeah, for sure.
Which I appreciate was very different to some of the people that were around at the time. But I just think, cool, yeah, anti-diva. And then your ring gear is like teeny tiny pants and a little bra. Yeah, okay, cool.
Interesting.
I don't know. Just, it doesn't fuss me, but I'm just a bit like,
Clearly.
don't proclaim
Yeah, okay.
to be something that, to me, doesn't.
You're making valid points, and I guess I haven't looked at it that way, but I think I was looking at it from a physical perspective, I guess, rather than an attire perspective. So, like, in terms of there was no, yet, like, breast augmentation, there was no fake tan, which never happened, to be fair for her. It probably should burn up. I mean, I'm fair-skinned myself, I know. The dark hair, even, with, like, the pale skin, kind of the... What do they call that? It's not English rose, but, like, in terms of the...
I only know it as either, English
okay.
rose or...
Yeah, raven-haired woman, whatever. So there was enough there to justify it. But the points you've made, when I think about it, I can't argue them. You're bang on in terms of, oh yeah, she was wearing skimpy stuff. It's like, yeah, she was, but I never saw it that way. Weirdly, which interesting. You've kind of changed my perspective there a little bit, which is good. Paige gets a great reception, and it's incredible to think that this was her prime. She was already at the peak.
Yes.
In terms of her NXT Women's title, the Divas title, that's it.
Yeah.
Would you consider us watching her win the AEW Women's title at Wembley a peak? I wouldn't.
No.
Because she'd obviously been retired for so long. She's still...
And also, to me, that wasn't... We had already assumed that was going to happen anyway. Because why wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think I
wasn't
backed her to win, didn't I? And,
yeah, it wasn't a surprise, so...
No,
yeah,
fair. Paige says that whoever wins... no. Oh, no. I've jumped ahead slightly. Sadly, she stumbles over her words at first as she thanks each and every one of the fans because she wouldn't be where she is without them and NXT. Now, the bit she fumbles on makes it sound like she was going to swear and then caught herself before she did it. But either way, awkward. Paige says that whoever wins the NXT Women's title is holding the key to their own future, and she is living proof of that. She raises her title into the air and takes her leave.
Yeah, what's the point?
Again, maybe it's showing like the people. So I guess the idea was thinking try and get more of the people that watch Raw and SmackDown to watch NXT.
Yeah.
Have Cesaro go back. Have Rusev go back. Have the Divas champion go back. So then you go, oh, okay, well, I'll watch it, see what they do. And then hopefully I will then stay and watch everything else and then want to watch more NXT. That's my thinking behind it. And I get it.
It was
I do get it.
so brief, though. It was just, to me, it was just a bit like, oh, okay, cool.
And isn't it a shame that Cesaro didn't make an appearance on this show yet? But we're ready for the match.
Yes.
To crown the new WWE NXT Women's Champion. It is Women's Champion, isn't it? Because obviously with Paige going to the main roster, that was vacated. Tournament, we discussed that already. And the two finalists are here. Charlotte with Ric Flair versus Natalya with Bret Hart. Whose corner were you in? Because I know you actually like both women.
I do.
But I know whose corner you're in.
I do. Charlotte all day long.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Bret Hart, Ric Flair, whose corner are you in?
In their... Well, I've not seen Flair in his prime.
Okay.
It would be Bret Hart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conflicted? Friend of the show, Bret Hart?
No.
No? Fair enough.
No.
Fair enough.
Because also, these two should just stand. If they have to be there, just stand there and
Bret
do
Hart
nothing.
didn't annoy me.
Please.
Can't
Ric
quite
Flair always annoys me. He doesn't have to do anything and he annoys
It's
me.
the thing he did when the match ends, the first thing. I was like, what? Why?
He starts undressing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to save that, but yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. So, Charlotte appears on the entryway, and it isn't too long before Rick joins her, and this is enough to make Regal's liver jittery. I really don't like the cheesy and campy wink that Charlotte does in the ring. Looks so forced. The rest is fine, though. So the handstand thing on the outside,
I love that entrance.
fine. The splits,
The box splits
into the handstand,
backwards roll up.
but I don't like the... over the shoulder. It's like, fuck, don't do that.
Oh, I loved that entrance. I was gutted when she stopped doing that entrance.
No, the entrance up to the over your shoulder wink. Yeah. Because that's like, I know you want to fuck me, wink. Like, it finds weird. It doesn't suit. Everything else, yeah, good. Yeah. I agree with you. Next out is Natalya, and I'll be honest, I don't know if she has looked any better than she does right here.
I have said very much a similar thing, saying there's a lot less Botox, filler, and probably a little less silicone here, and she looks great.
Great look and great outfit. And the hair, hair was lovely.
Amazing.
Yeah, hair was lovely. Brett joins her, and they share a high five before they make their way down to the ring together. When Natalya enters, she straightens Charlotte's face in the corner, and they exchange some words and a woo or two before the formal introductions are made. The bell sounds, and the two immediately engage in a heated lock-up, tussling for position. Natalya gets the better of it and trips Charlotte to the canvas with a judo takedown that earns her an early 1 count. The Canadian encourages the crowd to clap along before grabbing a rear waistlock on Flair. She picks the legs and barrel rolls over her back to apply front face lock. Counter from Charlotte into a hammerlock, but Natalya gets to her feet, spins out into a fireman's carry and holds on to an armlock. Head scissors from Charlotte, but Natty kips up, although the cameras missed this as they were trained on Brett at that moment of time. Really fun opening exchange, and yeah, I'm all about that.
Yeah, good.
Good. Happy with that. It's also nice seeing Charlotte being out-wrestled.
Mm-hmm.
They look up once more. Natalya gets a side headlock. They look up.
Ooh.
They lock up once more, and Natalya gets a side headlock takedown and retains the hold on the canvas. Back on their feet, and Charlotte scores with a nice escape, rolling Natalya through, so she releases the hold. Brief lock up, and this time Charlotte looks for a go behind, but is countered into a wrist lock. Cartwheel counter into a wrist lock of her own, which she then transitions into a Fujiwara armbar on the floor. Back to the regular arm lock and eventually a top wrist lock, but Natty counters out, showing shades of her uncle Owen Hart from WrestleMania 10. Literally the same counter that he does, and it's brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Natalya picks the ankle and applies a leg lock, which she manages to keep on for a while until the long legs of Charlotte free her from the predicament. Kick from Natalya is caught, and Charlotte holds her there for a moment until Natty shoves her in the face before eating one in return. A bit, I don't know, that was awkward.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. Nice flip escape sees Charlotte face first on the canvas, and Natalya locks on a grapevine to the legs. Charlotte reaches back through and secures a side headlock to return to her knees, or to return to their knees, and Natalya breaks free and manages to secure a front face lock that she uses to drag her to the canvas. Escape from Charlotte, and now she has a front face lock applied herself. Back to their feet, and Charlotte counters a whip, goes for a drop down and leapfrog, catches Natalya in the wheelbarrow position, but this is turned into a victory roll pin, and she narrowly avoids taking the loss.
Yeah,
Good.
Big fan.
Yeah. Body scissors applied by Natty, but Charlotte eventually manages to turn into the guard and lands 2 forearms before shaking her by the hair. Armbar out of nowhere from Natalya, but Charlotte almost immediately slips free and rolls to the sanctuary of the ropes. She kicks Natty away and looks frustrated as she gets back to her feet. What were you thinking of the match so far?
Yeah, good for me.
Yeah?
Yeah,
because I know this...
Like my kind of match-ish.
This also, though, has a line where you love it, you love it, you love it, stop it.
Yeah.
And there's nothing in between.
Yeah.
So I wondered how long, because I was like, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
But in the back of my head, I was thinking, is this still within the...
So far,
okay.
It's still good for me, and there wasn't too much, you do this, I do this, you do this, I do this, which I did think, that's exactly what's going to happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, it happened, but it wasn't too much.
Okay, fair.
So far.
She is annoyed. She kicks Natty away as she's frustrated, and she's very mad as she paintbrushes a big slap across her opponent's face. But Natty is game for that and returns a brutal one to Charlotte. Clothesline is ducked, and Natalya is looking for a German suplex, but instead settles for a schoolgirl pin that gets her near fall. No sooner have they returned to their feet, Charlotte connects with a running knee to the midsection and then one to the back. Huge knife edge chop drops Natty to the canvas, and Flair is so excited he climbs onto the apron to woo at her, but I was more concerned he was going to straddle her and take her on a trip to Space Mountain. Big chop in response from Natalya, but corner whip is reversed. However, she does manage to go up and over, but the German suplex is blocked. Now Natty jumps on Charlotte's back, looking for a sleeper, but is countered with a backpack jawbreaker. You like that?
Yeah. I did, especially as it stopped any form of sleeper.
Of course. Hook of the leg gets an earful, so Charlotte tries again with the same result. Now Natalya finds her face bounce repeatedly off the canvas before she's stamped on in the corner and choked. Much like in the Zayn match earlier, Natalya is pulled by her ankles away from the corner and lands flat on her back, and we get another near fall. Head scissors applied by Charlotte, but she has the figure 4 grip applied, so I guess this is a figure 4 headlock, and she rolls onto her front to ram Natty's face into the canvas a few more times before returning back to the starting position. Stephanie Vakir? Kind of similar thing.
Yeah.
Natalya. Oh, interesting. Natalya tries to escape.
Like Matt Letizia.
Yeah, Matt. Great 90s football reference there. Outstanding work, Holly. Natalya tries to escape, but as she's getting to her feet, Charlotte uses the moment to roll forward and slam her back first to the canvas for a 2 count. Again, like that. All I'm imagining, though, is Matt Letizia in Natalya's gear, and it's really fucking with me emotionally.
I'm so sorry.
Abdominal stretch applied by Charlotte, and now Natalya has it applied moments later with an added leg stretch. Very nice. Backslide attempt from Natalya, but Charlotte rolls through and scores with a seated dropkick. Deep cover gets a near fall from that. Face first into the buckles goes Natty, and Charlotte unloads with more boots but misses her charge. Natalya rushes in and connects with the butterfly suplex and a clothesline in short order. A roar from Natalya before a snapmare takedown, and she runs over Charlotte, driving her face into the canvas with her boot and delivering a drop kick to the face on her return. Cover only leads to a 2 count.
I've always liked that.
Yes.
It just looks good.
It does, especially when you can do the box split.
I was going to say, it relies on your other person being able to sit in a straddle and go chest to mat, but still, looks good.
Can I ask you, and it's going to sound like a joke question, but I genuinely don't know. You called it a box split earlier.
Yes.
Is that a technical term, or is that because it actually stretches your box?
No, it's a technical gymnastics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like that was because I was like box split. I was like, yeah, I could see that actually.
No, technical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you a box splitter back in the day?
That sounds so gross. I've never been able to split that way. Forwards and backwards.
Fine. What, to this day, you reckon?
I mean, if I actually had time to stretch, maybe I could probably get back
fair
on
enough.
there. Shan't be trying, but
I wasn't.
at the age of 36, I think I'm done. I'll be honest.
Sure, you got a few more box splitting in your future.
We'll see who's worth stretching for. Probably no.
Tell you what, there's no confidence to my ego there, is it? Bloody hell. The future queen heads to the top rope, but finds no water in the pool on the moonsault attempt. Funny to hear commentary say they have never seen Charlotte do anything like this, but then again, Tom also said that earlier and it was complete and utter bullshit, given that it would become a staple of her arsenal going forward. This is awesome. And Bret Hart is smacking on the canvas to the chant. Yeah. Roaring clothesline from Natalya lands, which gets the 1, 2, no. No rest for the wicked as now the sharpshooter is applied, and you can see Bret say, "This is over," which I liked actually. Charlotte in agony crawls her way to both the ropes and her father, but is dragged away by the Canadian. There is still fight and flair though, and she rolls forward, putting Natalya on her back, from where she applies the figure 4 leg lock. Not the figure 8 yet. No. I
did wonder if it was coming, because I thought,
wasn't there quite yet.
I was like, no, not yet.
I don't even know if she did that until the main roster, you know.
Ooh,
Could be wrong. Natalya tries to roll free, but is slapped across the face before returning fire. Back in the middle of the ring, and Natalya tries to break the feet positioning, but no luck, so she throws a slap that gets returned. The two women roll to the apron. There was a point actually in that figure 4 leg lock that both women looked like they were in an equal amount of pain, and I wasn't sure who was selling.
Okay. I agree.
I'm glad you thought
I was
that.
Like, which one of them is meant to be feeling this more?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really know.
They roll to the apron, from where Charlotte drops to the floor, and the hold is still applied. Yeah, okay.
Nice.
Charles Robinson has to exit the ring to force a break, and both women are down on the floor. With her back turned, Charlotte kicks Natty's knee into the steel stairs.
I mean, this did not annoy me, but you know when everything is going so well up until a point, and this to me is very similar to two completely different people, but it was the Rumble when Asuka kicked out Nikki Bella's leg.
Oh, and she fell off to get eliminated.
But it's like, I'm going to kick you, and you're going to wait about 2 seconds before you actually do anything.
Yeah, to make sure you land safely.
This was very similar to me. It's like the kick happened, and then it's like, oh shit, I meant to fall. Yeah, okay.
This wasn't as egregious as the Royal Rumble one, but
a little delay.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying.
Not that I could do it, let's be clear, but
probably give it a go.
I was like, oh, I mean, I'm clumsy enough. People don't even have to kick me, I'd fall over.
I mean, I have seen that first person in a toilet, so yeah, that was great. Oh, that is still one of my all-time favourite things.
Can't help it, I'm
Whilst
clumsy.
I'm trying to go pee in a urinal and just hearing you giggling through a wall is really, really one of the most surreal experiences I've had in some time. Okay. With her back turned, Charlotte kicks Natty. With both Rick and Brett encouraging their family members, the action returns to the ring. Charlotte grabs the legs of Natalya and looks at her old man to woo, and is set to apply the figure 4 leg lock for a second time, but no, she pauses. She takes a moment to look at Brett and changes her mind to apply the sharpshooter instead. Good.
Very good.
And Brett has a look on his face like, I feel like I'm getting screwed again.
Dick move.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah. Brett has a resigned look on his face, but Natty tries to claw her way to the ropes until she's dragged away. She manages to escape in a similar way to Charlotte earlier, but is kicked off from reapplying the sharpshooter herself. Before she can compose herself, Natty finds herself driven face first into the canvas with bow down to the Queen. Hook of the leg, and we get the 1, 2, 3. Charlotte is the new NXT Women's Champion, and boy would she go on to hold some titles over her time. Immediately, the bell sounds, and immediately Ric Flair has thrown his jacket off and is in the ring to hug his daughter as both of them begin to cry. Natalya is next to hug Charlotte and sheds a few tears, and we see Brett and Rick shake hands in the background. And then Brett goes on to congratulate Charlotte on her win, and you see her say, "Thanks, Brett." Final moment in the ring of Rick crying, raising his daughter's hand before they exit. Clearly, Charlotte has been given some instruction to return to the ring by herself and raise the belt high into the air. The Flairs head up the ramp, and we get one more lifting of the title before this segment is over. Holly, what did you think of the match? What did you score it?
Well, I really enjoyed it. I'd seen it before, but don't think I'd actually really paid attention, because it must have been on like some YouTube like top 10 NXT matches or something that I'd probably have had on in the background. So I'd seen it before, not really paid much attention. Really enjoyed it. Good pacing for me. If I'm going to watch two women wrestle, fine. Happy for it to be these two. 4 out of 5 for me. Easy. Oh gosh, I can't see. Where are you? Oh, 4. Nice.
Exact same score I gave it. I thought it was well paced. I cared. It was an interesting point in both of their careers. Natalya was kind of being given a little bit of a resurgence back in NXT.
Yeah.
Charlotte was very much in her formative years in the company, on the rise. So it was an interesting time and place. Because I know they've had matches, I think at like SummerSlam and stuff in the future, and I haven't cared.
Yeah.
Whereas this one I cared about.
I liked that after, everyone looked genuinely emotional about it as well. Like, it's just quite nice. It's quite sweet. Quite sweet. There's this is really boring.
Okay, well, by all means.
This is really boring.
By all
but
means.
I found it interesting. Obviously, like, Charlotte had a couple of tattoos at this point, right?
Yes.
But there's only one that I continuously saw, and I was like, I wonder what that one is, because I know she has a couple, and it's on her rib cage.
Yeah.
And it's the one that says, "Guard your heart above all else, for it will determine the rest of your life." I really like that.
That's just a motto in which we should all abide by.
I actually quite like that, and I actually think, yeah, you know what? Probably damn right. I really liked it. But I was just nosy, because I was like, I keep seeing, and I knew she had loads from watching that tattoo thing that's on, but at a later date, and all the tribute ones she's got and all that sort of stuff. But this one I'd never really paid attention to.
Because I thought she already had one for her brother at this point, for Reed.
I couldn't remember, but the one on that was visible the whole time was that big one, and I was like, oh, just nosy as to what it says.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I know that obviously she got the one because Reed was supposed to be the next in line in the Flair family. Had an amateur background to him, was training to be a professional wrestler. Died of a heroin overdose, I think, or something like that, really young. And Charlotte had no interest in going into wrestling, and then kind of then swayed that way, took the mantle from Reed in honour of him, and obviously wanted to continue on the Flair legacy. So very sad story. And I know she has I think it's either his name or his date of birth, his date of death or something. She has some sort of tribute tattoo for sure on her of Reed. And it's a nice touch. And, from if you completely take the human aspect out of it, what a good decision by her that turned out to be in terms of having a wrestling career. She's set.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if not the best, one of the best for sure.
Agreed.
With that match done.
Yeah.
Still not quite done.
No.
I will put this out there now. What we just saw, in my opinion, was match of the night.
What we just saw for me should have been the last match on the programme. Should have been the close-off for me.
Actually, fully agreed.
Yeah.
Fully agreed.
Oh, good.
Especially when you got a bit of Ric Flair, a bit of Bret Hart there.
Exactly.
Had enough dynamics. New champion either way.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I have to say I agree. I do agree with you. But the cameras now take us backstage where we see Adrian Neville mentally preparing himself for his NXT title defence coming up. Gold mood lighting in this one is better than the Dark Abyss they had Sammy lace up in earlier in the night, but
no one paying the Lecky bill over there.
Apparently not. No, it's all good mood lighting, isn't it?
Yeah. Isn't it?
I might waiting to see some sort of incense burning or like a little bit of a
Candles
Yankee
flickering
candle. Yeah,
and-
exactly. And a candelabra maybe, perhaps.
Ooh.
Nice little romantic setting.
Lumiere from Beauty and the Beast.
Exactly like
Yeah?
that. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, get Ewan McGregor involved. After Neville nods to signal he's prepared, he walks out of shot and we head to footage of him winning the title against Bo Dallas. We hear how Brodus Clay went on to knock out Neville's 4 front teeth in a match that took place after the title win, but not to worry, Holly, the dentures are now in.
Makes such a difference.
Neville acknowledges he can't help his ears, alright? He can't help his ears. Still better looking boy than me though, so got to give him credit. Neville acknowledges that Tyson Kidd is a very different proposition, and the challenger is quick to suggest that anything Neville can do, he can do better. No. The champ acknowledges that they have a lot of similarities, and that might make Tyson his biggest challenge to date. No.
Is it they're both men and wrestlers?
Yeah. Yes, that's the equivalent.
It, right?
Yeah. In a face-to-face confrontation, Neville says that the only member of Tyson's family that is likely to take the gold home is his wife. Well, based off what we just saw, it looks like Tyson is really shit out of luck now. Neville says the title is like his armour, and nobody is getting through his armour. We return to ringside where we see a certain Swiss Superman sat in the crowd next to the fine wine that is Christian, sat in the crowd to spectate, and Holly is pleased to say the least.
Absolutely. Both suited and booted. Christian, short hair. Oh,
But still a bit too blonde, weirdly, and tan skin.
I know what you're
it doesn't
saying,
quite.
but
It's not quite.
He started the fine wine aging process.
Yes, the maturation process.
Both of these two. Just put the camera on these two rather than, I'll be honest, the match that's about to happen. I'd have been probably happier.
They kept the camera on them a little bit too long as well.
Both
where
of you
they
could
tried
tell
to
both
talk.
of them are like, this is really awkward. What do we do?
Cesaro can't sit in the silence, whereas Christian can do this
Yeah.
at the crowd, and then Cesaro's like, "Are we supposed to carry on talking, or?"
I'll be like, can we move our seats now and go? Like,
Yeah.
are we done? Because we haven't sat here for the whole thing. Let's be clear.
No, exactly. Backstage, we see a very emotional Natalya hug Tyson before he makes his way to the ring, and he gives her their wedding ring to look after, which I think then makes her fair game. She tells him that she loves him.
Is that the rule?
I think
if you
so.
take it off,
Yeah.
don't matter.
Well, I guess in certain circumstances. I mean, in that one specifically, because he takes it off with such venom as well. I don't know if you noticed that.
He seems a bit angry.
Very
about it,
much
doesn't
so,
he?
very
Just,
much so.
Smacks it into her hand.
And when she hugs him, he's like, tries to kind of... I've got a comment here, actually. Just Sorry, let me put that there for a second. And, yeah, it was an awkward moment, but I was just like, she looks so vulnerable there, and I just felt bad for her. I just twatted the mic, by the way, so I can only apologise for that, but it was for the sake of humour, so you'll forgive me. And yeah, like, just the hugging bit, and he's like, no, yeah, okay, right, hold this. Useless.
Obviously am a big fan of Total Divas, right? That show.
No.
I know, right?
No.
Oh, it's the best mind-numbing telly.
Is it on Netflix?
No. Livid. But I've seen it all about 4 times anyway, so it's fine. But having watched that, obviously it's not 100% real, and there's so much stuff that's obviously fake, like every other reality TV show.
Yep.
How they are still married, I don't know. Because the stuff that used to be said, or the way he would act with her, boggled my mind.
Like what?
It's just bizarre. But, like, you know, you're saying, like, she hugged him and he was effectively like, get the fuck off me.
Yeah.
Like, it was like that the whole time.
Really?
It was just bizarre. But then obviously it's telly, so
Yeah.
they've probably been told what to do. But I don't know. And to me, he will always be her husband.
Yeah, it's true.
Not in his own right.
Well, whatever criteria you want to judge it on, let's take the name out of it. she's better
Yeah.
in every respect in terms of wrestling, in my opinion. So yeah, you're right.
There is one thing that he is much better, superior than most people at, who have ever worked for WWE.
Okay.
Having the shittest haircut I've ever seen in my life.
No, you went Bobby Generic on this one.
No, that one's fine.
Yeah.
But I'm saying...
Oh, don't worry, I've got this look covered as well.
The only thing about him, I would say, and this is very harsh, I'm aware.
No,
the
it's not.
only thing about him, I think, that he has as a uniqueness, if you want to call it, over everyone else.
I'll be honest, I don't think that's insulting, because I think that was fully intentional. Because you don't go,
so
God, can
bad.
I have like a little kind of hair crown?
Clippers ran out
Can I
right at the front.
Can I have a little hair crown, please? That's all I want.
So bizarre.
I want to look like someone's like stamped pubes on my face.
Also, if I'm his wife, I'm shaving it off when you're asleep. Don't care.
Yeah, that is fair.
I would shave that stuff off. Wouldn't take long.
Yeah, done. Like, what the fuck happened here? Yeah.
Bizarre.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyways, my rant about his hair is finished.
So anyway, the much anticipated main event of the evening is Adrian Neville versus Tyson Kidd for the NXT title. I worked out why I didn't want to see this.
Okay.
And I think I cover it off at the tail end, so I don't want to go into it
okay.
now, because then that'll take the wind out of the sails for the actual match. I assume you expected Neville to win?
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I doubt you cared.
Correct.
Okay. Didn't back one of our own boys, that's fine. Match begins. No, it doesn't. Now, whilst Tyson Kidd's hair is a marked improvement on what it used to look like, his song is absolute generic wanky garbage.
It's a very technical term.
It's awful. It's so awful. Fuck off. Actually, fuck off. Okay. Shit house. Thank you.
Give him Natalia's music.
Just give him no music and booze.
Comes out in silence.
Just comes out and boo. Just that. That'll do. Next out, and rightfully so, is the champion whose hair is the most sodden thing I think I've ever seen. Bravo.
Yeah.
Well done. After completing his entrance, the champion raises the title in front of the challenger, and now the formal introductions can get underway. We can see Adrian Neville putting his mouth guard in as the bell sounds, and Holly, did you know he did really have his teeth knocked out by Brodus Clay in a match?
No.
However, as he was already wearing a mouth guard, he didn't realise they were out until he took the mouth guard out, and that is when he realised that his teeth were no longer attached to his head.
Oh, stop. That's grim. I hate stuff with teeth like that. That's awful.
And the way it happened, it wasn't, as far as I'm aware, it wasn't Brodus's fault. So I think Neville jumped off the top rope and was supposed to be caught by Brodus, which he did, but he went face first into his shoulder like that. So face butted his shoulder.
Oh, to pull your mouth?
Yeah. And Brodus Clay was interviewed about this after the fact. I think it was after he left the company. And he said, people always give me credit, in air quotations, for knocking out Neville's teeth. And he said, but to be fair, he said, one of them, or I knocked one out, two were already fake. And he said something about the other one. He said, so I only knocked one out, in my defence.
Fair enough.
Yes. Because you can see, actually, when they have that build-up to it, the backstage assault that Brodus gave him, and he's got teeth out, and you can see he's not got his teeth in his mouth. But obviously that's not when it happened. But it was based off an actual incident. Do you remember when Cesaro
Yes, I
knocked
do
his
remember.
teeth out on the butt? He was like, oh,
Yeah.
oh dear.
No.
Poor God.
I hate things with teeth. Just.
Do you ever have those dreams where you wake up and your teeth, like in your dream, your teeth are falling out or something?
Yeah, I've had a few of those.
They're
but
horrible,
I'm also
aren't
like
they?
a teeth grinder. So sometimes when I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, if I ground my teeth into dust.
I do it where I lock my jaw sometimes, and I'm tense, and then I go, oh, that's quite painful when I open it. But yeah, I've only had a couple of dreams about the teeth being knocked out, and it's such a relief. The relief that washes over you when you run your tongue across your teeth. You go, oh, thank fuck for that. It's like when you get your braces taken off.
Yeah, the amount of cheer injuries I've had though, when the first thing you do is like tongue goes to teeth and go.
Like when you get a fat lip as well.
I can taste blood, but all my teeth are still there.
And then you give them a little push, don't you, with the tongue?
Oh yeah, just to see how loose are we. And
Yeah.
I'm like, no, they're all still there.
Yeah.
My mouth is bleeding horrendously, but my teeth are there, so it's fine.
Yeah, I remember. This isn't a tooth-related injury, and I guess it wasn't a massive injury either way. But I had on the side of my head, I still have the remnants of it, to be fair, just under the sideburn. I think it was called a blood blister, so I don't know how exactly it was caused. But one day in primary school, I was walking home, and I hadn't realised, blood was pouring down the side of my face and onto my shirt, and people were looking at me like I'd been in a bar fight. And I remember, I think it was someone's mum said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah," because it didn't hurt at all. Like, it was obviously just been nicked. And she went, "Oh, you're bleeding." And I was like, "Oh." And I must have been like, 11 at the time. And I was like, and I remember thinking, I feel pretty cool. Because I'm not in pain.
Fair enough.
I look manly.
Oh, okay.
It's like yesterday, I was saying to you, a bit of a segue. So me and my missus went out to a show yesterday, and I was making some deals. And she was like, "Oh, you actually were kind of the dominant manly force." And it's a low bar, to be fair. But I was just like, yeah, that's all right. It's a little bit of a, yeah. I don't often kind of feel like well inflated ego wise, but this is one of those moments, I must admit. Sue me, I'm a man. Fuck you. Right, not you, Holly, just to be clear, because I don't want you to hit me or hurt me, because you could kick my ass. After completing his entrance, the champion... Well, that was a fucking... What a segue. Yeah. That was a roller coaster. No, we've done that. Instead of engaging, the two are crouching in front of one another, staring, and I thought they were about to commence a game of battle shits. Ooh. But they didn't. Sadly, they wrestled. After a prolonged period, they slowly begin to circle before locking up and jockeying for position. They go from one corner of the ring to the other until the ref calls for a clean break, with Neville backed against the buckles. Tyson offers a handshake, which is accepted, but he pulls Neville close and they exchange some words. And Tyson's probably going, "What? I don't understand. Can we ever get a translator?" Yeah. I think he would have found it easier if he was listening to or watching someone do ASL, whether he knows it or not, to be honest, because you said, listening to Neville do the promo, you actually said to me, "Where's he from?"
I know, and I know I'm aware I should know.
That I didn't say, but you're like, I genuinely can't understand him. And if we can't understand him... But even
to me, it didn't even sound... Like, once you said he was a Geordie, it still didn't even sound to me like Geordie.
It's because he doesn't enunciate properly. It's like it's like all kind of...
Into
yes,
one.
It does. The circling resumes until Tyson ducks a lock up into a waist lock, which he transitions into a side headlock takedown. Back on their feet, Neville escapes via a top wrist lock, but before he can capitalise, Tyson has reapplied the side headlock and completed a second takedown. The commentary team are making a big point of how similar the two men are, and the more they say it, the less I agree with it. You're shaking your head as well.
How?
So they're not. They're not. They just aren't.
Completely different.
I think they were trying to make a story that wasn't there. They were trying to make a story because there was not enough there to justify it, I think. And I think they knew it. So they're going, how else can we make this seem like
Amp it up.
Kind of, yes. How do they fan those flames? Once again, Neville manages to escape via the same method, but this time Tyson has a wrist lock of his own waiting. A lovely twist and step-up escape by Neville, but a third time he is taken down with a side headlock. Head scissors escape, but Kid kips up to his feet quickly and he crouches over the champion before patronisingly patting him on top of the head and then the arm. And the crowd, like a good pantomime crowd, go, "Ooh." Yes. If it was at school, they'd have gone, "Fight, fight, fight," right afterwards. Neville looks to roll free when the wristlock is reapplied, but when he goes to get up, he's yanked back down to the canvas. When the Brit does manage to get back to his feet, after 2 rolls and a cartwheel, he flips Kid over and down to the canvas. Now the champ is looming over the challenger. Did you start to think this is going to look a bit similar to the match we just saw, and why are we seeing it again?
A little bit, but less good.
Okay. Yes, the athleticism is better, because I think they've got the composition for it better, but I agree with you. Kid charges in and gets taken down with an arm drag and held in place with a tricep lock. Don't know if that's the term. That's what I'm calling it, because that's what he was holding. Amateur wrestling takedown by the champion, flipping Kid back down to the canvas, and he holds him in place for a while longer, holding onto the tricep. Side headlock by Neville on their feet, but he gets pushed off and dropped with a shoulder tackle. Drop down and leapfrog, or the Holly doubleheader, as I will call it, and from Neville, before he rolls under a leapfrog from the challenger. Standing monkey flip sees Neville land perfectly on his feet, and he scores with an arm drag before running into one from Kid. Both men throw drop kicks in unison before head flipping back to a vertical base for a stalemate. Fan?
It's weird, because I usually love it.
Yes, you do.
I just didn't care.
Wow, okay.
But it's not like I watched it and went, "Oh God, boring." But I just kind of was like, okay.
You weren't invested one way or the other.
No.
You really need someone to root for in a match, don't you?
Yeah.
Even the good matches, you need to care.
Yeah.
Well, okay, no, that's fair enough.
Far too caring, apparently, clearly.
Oh, heart of gold, you, ain't you?
Yeah, if only.
To quote someone I don't care for in the slightest, they don't get hyped. They stay hyped as they come face to face and egg each other on to engage.
Very good.
Twice.
Yeah.
Got a reference there. Tyson, I didn't do the voice this time because no one needs that in their ears again. And I can only apologise. I heard it back, the Ultimate Warrior impression from the last episode.
Oh.
Some motherfuckers out there are deaf now. That's all I'm saying. It was...
Tinnitus is rife.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. And just know that I will forever be a part of your inner ear. So there's that. There's that. Tyson feigns calming down but levels Neville with a forearm. Levels Neville. Love that. With a forearm the moment he lowers his guard. After a couple of stomps, the champ finds himself whipped hard into the buckles. Neville is now hung in the Tree of Woe. Or Tree of Wow.
Wow.
I've got here. Tree of Wow. And eats, and I don't know why Christopher Walken's getting involved here, but there he was. Eats a knee to the midsection and 2 big kicks to the spine. Those spine kicks sound brutal, don't they? Third one seems just as painful and equally spiteful. From the other side of the ring, Kid scores with a running drop kick to the face of Neville, and he face plants on the canvas. Running back elbow puts the champion back on the canvas, and this gets a 1 count. Reverse chinlock applied by Kid, but Neville looks to fight his way back to his feet with little luck at the first attempt. Eventually, Neville does punch his way free, but rushes into being lifted and dropped throat first over the top rope. The dropkick that follows sends Neville between the ropes to the floor, and he then connects with a suicide dive senton that lands about as well as one could hope for. Did you feel okay about that? It looked clean. It was so clean.
It does always make me nervous, but actually, looks alright.
Yeah, it looked really good,
Safe.
I thought. They return to the ring and Kid gets a near fall. Knee drop lands, and now the challenger slaps on a sleeper hold. Tyson whips Neville to the buckles and makes a noise that I can only describe as "Yeah!"
Oh my god.
Tell me that isn't what he makes a noise of.
So loud.
I aimed away, so I didn't directly punch that into the microphone. But is that not the noise he makes?
I mean, yeah.
Because he does it later on. It's like Ricky Hatton doing his warm-up session. Doing, rah, rah, rabbit, yeah!
Yeah, I don't... Yeah.
It's ludicrous.
It's weird,
it's
isn't
so out of
Yeah.
place.
Oh, God.
Kid runs into a boot and misses a clothesline before both collide mid-air on crossbody attempts. The sound of that as well is brutal. Both men are down. Pair of right hands are blocked by Neville, and he lands a couple of his own, but he cannot block the spinning back kick to the gut. Kid hits the ropes but is dropped by a forearm on his return, and a second comes quickly thereafter. Now Neville lands with a spinning back kick to the midsection and connects with a kick to the chest before the second back kick puts Tyson on the canvas. Off the ropes and a single-legged drop kick to the top of the head connects as the champion is building momentum. Neville goes to the second rope but decides against taking flight, instead dropping down and elevating Tyson into the buckles into a second tree of, I'm going to call it, wow. Now, returning the favour from earlier, Neville kicks Tyson in the spine 3 times, there's your receipt, and then lands his own running drop kick.
Boring.
Because we've already seen it?
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't say boring in the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior match at WrestleMania 6 when they were doing anything.
Neither of these are Hulk Hogan.
You're right. I don't think they're racist.
Oh, shut up. You know
I
what
don't think
mean.
either of them have a sex tape.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. That is true, to be fair.
It's not something I'd want to look up.
What, the Jumping Geordies?
Oh, the
Yeah.
jumping Geordies.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
what would? Oh, okay.
What would Tyson's be?
Very vanilla.
Um,
Can't imagine he's
missionary statement.
kinky. Yeah.
There you go.
Fair.
You can have that. Because it's boring. Neville, do you not think that, do you reckon Natty's a bit of a dark horse?
I don't know.
Who of the, right, okay,
Oh, God.
who, it doesn't have to be the women, who do you actually think is a bit of a dirty sod in WWE?
In general,
Like, yeah, little bit of a,
Damien Priest.
really?
I reckon he's into a bit of BDSM.
Rhea Ripley then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Fun.
Right, so outside of the gimmick, who would be the unexpected one that you would think about? I'm trying to think, actually. There's a lot of people to think about. I'm actually trying to look on the shelf. See, I would love it, because I think it'd be fucking funny if it's Gunther.
Yeah.
And he's just got a ball in his mouth. He goes,
Ball game.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go, there's a new gimmick. That'll kill him
Brilliant.
off.
God.
That'd kill him off in fashion.
Oh.
Neville goes to the second rope, but yeah, no, we've done that. Now returning the favour from earlier, Neville kicks... No, we've done that too. Oh, we've done all that. We've done it all, Holly. From the apron, Neville springboards off the top rope and connects with a flying forearm that leads to a near fall. Forearm from Kid connects when they are on their feet, and then he scores with a rope-assisted pair of high boots that lands him on the apron. So he kicks him, then flips over in the same motion to land on the apron. Yes. Couldn't quite work out how to articulate that in writing.
Mm-hmm.
Hook of the leg gets a close 2 count for the challenger. Up to the top goes Tyson, but before he can leap, he's met with a forearm from the Geordie.
He obviously waits also for a really long time.
He really does.
He's a little bit early.
Just a touch. The champ joins him up top, but his superplex attempt is blocked, and now Tyson is looking for a sunset flip powerbomb, which makes Holly wince thinking about Seth Rollins and his patella. He succeeds in flipping, but so does Neville, who lands on his feet, which is very nice, and drives Kid into the mat with a pop-up sit-out powerbomb, which gets to 1, 2... No, okay, good.
Oh, I was devastated, though.
I bet.
That'd be it.
Not too long to go, though. After recovery period, which was a bit long, actually, Neville lands a couple of stiff kicks to the chest, and after Kid ducks too early off a whip reversal, he eats another. Neville attempts to springboard off the middle rope, but is met by the challenger, who scores with a side Russian leg sweep. What do you think of that?
Annoyingly, okay.
Okay, I thought it was decent as well. Kid crawls to the cover, but it's only enough for 2. Tyson slowly ascends to the top rope and leaps down, but sees the knees coming and manages to catch them before they connect, I guess. Kid then looks to perhaps go for a Boston Crab, but Neville springs his back off the canvas in such fashion that he can then twist and secures a pin for a close fall. Nice.
Yeah.
Running Enziguri finds the mark, as does the baseball drop kick to the side of the temple. Kid's suplex is blocked, and the Neville counter sends both men tumbling over the top to the floor. I don't know about that. I always think, but then I feel like I've seen it quite a lot recently, and I don't know, but it still looks good. It's a good aesthetic, if nothing else. The ref begins the count with both men down, and they only manage to break it at 9. A new count now begins with both men in the ring until champion and challenger use each other to regain their footing. A pair of forearms are exchanged, and Neville scores with a jumping Geordie prime cut Newcastle's finest chop. Now, Holly, I didn't think this was the match I was going to be referencing the type of chop as a butcher's counter reference. And I think I'm going to just do it now one every episode, and you'll never know which match it's going to be unless there's a chop in it.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to have to guess which match I make a reference to now. The champ hits the ropes, but when he returns, he finds his legs picked, and Kid secures the sharpshooter, but only for a moment before he looks to apply the dungeon lock, as what William Regal tells us it is, but he can't quite fully apply it in terms of locking his ankles. Kicks the head of the champion as the hold is still applied, which is actually quite good, and it looks like Neville is fading. Holly, I don't need you to do the honours, but I thought I was going to.
I thought I was going to at some point.
And he does actually go, oh, I'm literally here. Grab the ropes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe that's something about the Geordie's intelligence in this one. Not in general, this one.
Oh, okay.
In this match.
His solo intelligence.
Yes, I just happen to refer to him as a Geordie. The camp?
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, the camp. No, kicks to the head. No, done that. There we go. Oh yeah, his name is Adrian. I was thinking, who the fuck's Adrian? Who's Adrian? With Adrian on the apron, Kid pulls him. Yeah, so who the fuck is it? A triple threat? With Adrian on the apron, Kid pulls him to his feet and just avoids the shoulder tackle before scoring with a kick to the side of the head. As Neville is hanging limply over the bottom rope, or the middle rope, I should say, I think, Kid heads to the top rope and scores with a senton leg drop. 1, 2, no. Kid is visibly seen saying, "What do I have to do?" My response,
is that a genuine question?
Get good. Tyson heads back to the top but is grabbed by Neville until he manages to beat him away. Ooh. You know what I put there originally and then changed it, and you still went there.
Beat him off.
That's the one. Twice, in fact, this happens, but on the third occasion, Neville leaps to the top and scores with a super Hurricane Runner. That was very nice.
Yes, that was nice.
Right across the ring and back to the top, and Neville lands the red arrow. Hook of the leg, and we get the 1, the 2, the 3. Adrian Neville retains the NXT title by pinfall. After a tough battle, Neville celebrates with his title. What do you think? Because then I'll go into my thoughts on it.
Oh, okay. I just struggled to care.
Fair.
And it's not saying the match was awful. I didn't like it. I just, for me, why is the other match not last when you've got a change of someone new is getting the title? It's just better, and to me, the crowd enjoyed that one better.
They did.
There were some really good moves in this one that I will happily sit and go, oh, I like that. I just don't care at all. 2.25.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I really didn't care.
So I was a little bit higher than that because I thought it was better than average, but 3 stars, which makes it the third best match of the night, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've had Sami Zayn and Tyler Breeze comfortably above that in terms of quality, and my match of the night, as I said, was the women's NXT title match. And I think I know why.
Oh, okay.
So do you know what? The match was perfectly serviceable, but something was missing for me, and I hate to say it, but it's because I have no emotions towards Tyson Kidd whatsoever.
Agreed.
He looks like a generic creator wrestler from a video game with no clear character, motivation, or personality. Is he bad? Not at all. But I still do not care about his matches. He literally looks like randomised, like literally his music, I said earlier.
Yeah. True.
So generic. His look, generic. What he does in the ring, fine, but generic. Personality, not really.
No, I would agree with everything you
He's
just said.
Natalia's husband.
Yes. Always will be.
Neville versus Natalia's husband. And that seems so harsh to say.
Yeah.
But when you're being compared at that level to the top, I should have high standards for what you do. And you fall short of those high standards, in my opinion.
I would, if I compared this match against the other match we watched, Neville in, that one by far was far superior for me.
I think I gave it over 3. I think I did overscore it compared to this, but not by a great deal. But the ceiling jets of smoke billow down from the ceiling as the champion climbs the ropes with the title in hand. Neville says thank you to his beaten opponent and offers his hand, but Kidd shoulders past him and leaves the ring to head backstage. At this point, Neville looks on for a moment before returning to his celebration, and after a final replay of the finish, this one comes to an end, but not before we see the referee getting told in his ear to tell Neville to stay in that position for the show to finish.
Kind of ruins it a little bit, but...
Slightly. What did you think overall of the show?
Considering a couple of the matches were not duds, but like a bit meh, I'd say, it was so easy to watch.
Yes.
So easy to watch. And actually, I think the two matches that I did very much so enjoy, weirdly for a 2-hour show, made it easy to watch.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, I agree. I didn't find it a struggle.
No, nothing was massively long. I mean, well, the last match felt like it was, mainly because I just wasn't enjoying it. I gave it 6.5 out of 10.
Okay.
And yeah, I've just reiterated the point I've made 3 times in that I would switch those last 2 matches around big time.
Agreed. I went 6 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the Tyson Kidd thing was a real issue for me. And yet I didn't have the same problem with Natalya. Mm-hmm. I agree with you, that absolutely should have been the main event. Mm-hmm. And it played out like a main event as well. Whereas it felt like, oh, okay, the crowd are done now, let's just finish the show with this. It's like the same way they did Saturday night's main event. And since we came off actually, that's a good question.
Okay.
Sorry, I pointed again.
That's right.
With the order in which we've seen the shows, the last show we saw got a solid, Holly approved 1 out of 10.
Yeah, that was awful.
Did that then make this one feel better in comparison?
Probably.
Yeah?
I mean, they all probably do in those aspects, don't they? If you've watched a really shoddy show before, anything seems better in comparison.
Yeah.
And like if you've got a 9 out of 10er, the next one isn't going to be as good.
Even if it would otherwise be like a 7, you might go to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that will always be an issue.
Or something to factor in at least. Yeah.
But
okay.
yeah.
No, I think, like I said, it was a bounce back in the right direction, and I think there'll be a lot of NXT shows as we go down the takeover, the takeover trail. I don't know, some sort of alliteration part. I'll think about it at another point. I think we'll see a lot of shows that we really enjoy. I don't think this will be considered one of the best by any stretch, but it was serviceable. It was fine. Much like Tyson Kidd, the job was done.
I'm interested to see. Interested is also a push. Because he ends up or does a lot of tag work, doesn't he, with Cesaro at one point?
Yes.
It was him, those 3 together in their little... Oh, Natalya was there.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I remember vaguely seeing it, but I remember if I would care... I would remember. I'd like to know if I care. Because he's with because of who he's with.
Yeah,
It would concern me that he's going to drag poor Cesaro down with him.
I genuinely think you wouldn't care. That's my
Yeah.
instinct, because there was nothing about it. Because I forgot until you just said that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, that was a
quite a
thing.
long time they were together until Cesaro got his push finally, which again.
And then with Sheamus.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I don't mind those two together actually.
No, the bath was fine.
Prefer those two together.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's ironically a low bar that was set in what came before it. But Holly, we can't be done just yet.
Yes.
No.
No.
We've got to find out what Holly's outfit of the night was, and I think there's a couple contenders. How many have you got? Counting on her fingers.
Always 6.
6. Okay. I'm going to struggle. I'm just going to throw out a few names and then you go for it. Natalia.
Yeah.
Tyler Breeze.
Yeah.
I don't know if you count the Ascension as... Oh, Kalisto.
Yeah.
El Local?
I combine them because it's identical.
Fine. The Ascension did you combine?
Yes.
Okay. Charlotte Flair?
Yep.
And that is my guesses.
Cool. Yeah.
Those are my guesses.
All of those basically. And Lana, they threw in there.
Oh yeah, I
well,
forgot
actually.
about Lana.
The winner by far was
Tyler?
Mr. Tyler Breeze.
Outstanding outfit.
Natty came a close second because that was
yeah.
stunning.
They'd be my top 2.
But Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, Tyler Breeze, I agree
He's
with
like
you.
a modern day Randy Savage.
Do you know what's quite sad is that for me saying this is the best Natalia's ever looked, and I stand by that, a throwaway Tyler Breeze appearance still wins him the day. But yeah, well deserved. And Tyler Breeze has now made it onto the Holly Hall of Fame.
But do you know what I mean? If you look at him compared to who he's in there with, it kind of makes a bit of sense.
I didn't even think Sami Zayn's gear was that bad because I like all the flags for all the country.
That before, though, and I was like, it's not really any more exciting than it was last time.
I agree, but I don't think it's any worse than the Ascension's gear, for example.
Yeah, fair.
But I thought Kalisto again with the mask, and that I thought, yeah, maybe, but no, it had to be Tyler Breeze. Completely agree with you.
Absolutely.
But the work isn't quite done just yet, is it?
No.
Because Holly now needs to share the lovely socials with all the listeners, and she's going to do it from the top of her head, even though I just saw her scroll down the page a little bit.
I'm not even on that page.
Go for it.
windtwicepod@gmail.com is the email address. Everything else is windtwicepod. All socials.
So that's Instagram.
Yeah.
I did set up a Twitter and I've done nothing with it, which I will eventually have to do, I'm sure.
And
YouTube is the big one as well, and obviously we're available on all the podcasting platforms as well, should you decide to listen to us through there.
Yes.
Thank you very much for all the support you've given us. Like I said, we're still ticking over nicely on YouTube. Hopefully we'll get to the point where it could be maybe El monetized at some point. Like El Senor en el Banco. El Dinero en my pockito would be very nice, or in our pockito. But yeah, I really enjoyed this as always. Hopefully you guys all have as well. And until the next one, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Until next time, this has been a Win Twice Wrestling production. Peace out.